Dun 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 dun. This is better than staring at the screen saying, "Have we started yet?" Dun 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 dun.
Absolutely.
Dun. Well, it depends on where you are, what the lag is. Sometimes you get like a 4-second lag,
Yeah.
7 seconds, and then when I went to do my video to start, I didn't have a lag at all. I should have just started the video for my
Today, we had a full
yeah.
30
So there you
second
go.
Yeah.
lag.
I see you moving on YouTube.
Why isn't it moving on mine? My internet is. If my internet poops out, I'm going to run. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Hi.
If your
We're on
internet
YouTube.
poops out, then you're gonna have to run.
No, I'm going to run over to
Yeah.
my other computer. I think it's a power distribution problem in my house.
You should look into that. You should have B come on vacation and fix that for you. I know
I
how
have
to
a
do
second.
electrical.
I have a second panel in my garage because I pull so much power, but I haven't checked it in a while, so I think I'm over inundating even that.
Time for some
Yeah.
bigger breakers, young man.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, before we came on today, well, first let me say, Will, as usual, thank you for coming. Andy,
Hi.
so nice to have you back. And Purple, I haven't talked to you in I don't even know, a couple months. So it's
Oh, it hasn't been that long.
well that you and I talking on my channel, yeah.
No, I was in your history thing a
Oh,
couple of
that's
weeks ago when
right.
we got
That's
into
right.
the World War II
I
warships.
I was drinking. I'm sorry, I forgot.
I'm
You're right.
glad Perp's here.
I'll just be honest. I was drinking. I forgot. But
Yeah,
you're right,
no
you're
problem.
right. But we didn't really get to talk much anyway, so there was lots of conversation going, and you barely got a word in anywho. So, but
We
anyways,
had
thank you.
Pretty
Thank
big
you for coming
group
back.
there, so nobody got to talk for very long.
Yeah, I just decided I don't like that, and I told Granny, as much as I love her, I said, if you're gonna have like 9 or 10 people, and I'm good, man. I said six guests max, and is plenty. It is plenty.
Yeah, I
Like, if
found
the
that in
host
my
isn't-
chats too. If you
Yeah,
get
if
more
the-
than 5 or 6 people.
Yeah, and it's happened to me. Like and the reason that I said that to Granny is because I was on one of her streams and I couldn't get a word in.
Yeah.
And I raised my hand and said, "Yeah, but I was gonna say I don't know how. I literally like 8 or 9 times. So I just got quiet and I just waited it out because I love Granny and I didn't want to disrespect her. But
And
You were
StreamYard
respectful.
still needs to add a feature for people to raise their hands so the moderator can know who wants to talk next.
True.
Yeah.
well,
You
I know a
were
lot of
super-
people. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I was about to say, like, was that 2 Saturdays ago, 3 Saturdays ago? We had a impromptu Saturday stream, and B, you were so respectful because people were yelling and people were drunk, and it was a train wreck. It was.
It's all good, man. I don't care. Yeah. So
So, yeah.
anyways, we were talking about Yellowstone and volcanoes and stuff because Sandy started it, and then we got off on a little tangent. And Will, tell your story. I made you stop.
Yeah, talking about how to sneak into Canada.
Oh yeah,
Well-
that's what we were talking. They were talking about that too.
So I have worked with the homeless of Los Angeles for years and years now, and we have what we call success stories, semi-success stories, and people, who just go on to be better people, which is a success anyways.
Right.
So there was a man, and he eventually got the nickname Canada because he'd always say, "I'm going to Canada. I'm going to go to Canada." And he was a homeless guy in LA. And we didn't know he was saving up money. He got a job, and this man went to Washington and just started heading east, and just started going as northeast as he could until he eventually walked into Canada, and he's lived there legally now for 3 or 4 years.
No
And he
shit.
said, "Oh, at the office, we have his picture on the wall next to it, like, welcome to Canada sign." Like, he made it. So we consider it a success story because it's just some guy wolfing on the street, Like,
Right,
he
right.
actually
A
did what he-
homeless dude, and he moved to Canada. And we're all sitting there going, "We can't move to Canada."
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta level up my game now.
Oh,
Seriously.
and he thrives. He thrives in Canada too. So, it's one of those things. I don't believe in woo-woo, but if you put your mind to anything, you can do it, within limits.
Right.
Swedish ire. I like it. Yeah, funny thing is, where I'm at, well, not where I live, but about an hour and a half away from me, there's a large city. And in that large city, if you go there and say, "I can't get home," they will give you a Greyhound ticket to where you live.
We do that.
Say, "Oh, I'm stuck here," blah blah blah, and they're like, "All right, game on."
That's become a common thing that a lot of places will do that just because it's cheaper to send you to another state than for them to start paying welfare for you to stay there.
And for you to shelter you and deal
Mhm.
with the crime from you and whatever else.
Yep.
Right.
In LA, we'll do that as long as the person lives within the continental, United States.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, Will gets the other end of that since a lot of places will offer this, they'll encourage the homeless people to go somewhere where they don't have to deal with the winter, and we'll send them all out to LA.
So for some reason,
Phoenix is notorious for just boxing them up and sending them over to LA.
Oh yeah,
Are you close to there, Swede?
What's that?
Are you near Phoenix? I don't know where you
No,
live.
I'm in Omaha.
Oh, okay.
But there's been many a story of Phoenix being like, yeah, we don't want to take care of them. So
yeah, well, I've heard a lot of
they-
that going on from Minnesota and from the Chicago area of sending them out to California.
And the cops, like in Phoenix, Swede, they tax homeless people.
Who's
yeah,
got
They
the
have
echo?
they have a law where they can legally shake down homeless people, basically, because that's really like if they're panhandling, the cops will walk up and take half to encourage them to leave, basically.
it's the old stop and frisk rule.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not likely to be abused, is it?
Not at all.
Hey, Rudy Giuliani was all about that, back in the 80s to clean up Times Square and, make Harlem a living hell to live in. But,
Yeah, exactly.
Good job. He accomplished it.
And
now Harlem is gentrified and no one can afford to live there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's happening to East LA too.
Yeah, Venice Beach, I heard, is completely gentrified now.
So Venice was always a weird mix of people who always lived there and like the super rich. And of course, money has super succeeded all of that, and they've taken over the entire Santa Monica, Venice area.
My next door neighbor in college was from Venice Beach, and he has been lately been complaining. He's Republican to the core, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, you're voting the wrong way if you want these old businesses that have been there for 50 years to survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't know what you're voting for, and
Unfortunately,
he doesn't
that
listen. He
seems
calls
to
me
be
a
the
commie
problem.
bastard.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really know what they're voting for and don't really know what the legislation and policies being enacted are actually going to do.
Well, most people vote on tribe. Most people will vote for the tribe that they associate themselves with. One way.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with hereditary. You pick up the political party of your parents, or you intend to rebel against your parents and pick the other just because.
Very much so.
Right.
My oldest stepdaughter had to do that. That her mother and I were just so open about everything sexually and her mom smoking weed and all this that when she hit the teenage rebellion, the only way she could rebel was to become a Republican.
A Puritan.
That's like
that lasted until she and her best friend decided they were lesbians.
That's like my sister announced when my family they're older than I am by at least 6 or 7 years. So I was a kid, but my sister announced that she's a vegetarian, and my dad looked at her and was like, "Well, you're gonna starve in this house."
Yeah.
You could be all the vegetarian you want, but good luck.
Yeah, you'd starve in this house too because I can't process like half the plant proteins that I would need.
I'm going to use that for an excuse so I can just eat meat all the time. That is awesome. Thank you, Sweet.
So Sweet, how did you find that out? Was this
I
something
married an RD.
What's that?
I married a registered dietitian.
Oh, really?
And
Oops. Good.
And just food sensitivities. It is what it is.
So what can you eat in terms of plants?
I can eat everything. It just a lot of it passes right through.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Well, and like you say, for plant protein, Sloth Girl could never do it because to start with, she's allergic to all kinds of nuts and a lot of fresh fruit.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that would
My
really
cousin
limit her
who-
being able to get the nutrients she needs without eating meat.
My cousin, who started Cisco and Urban Decay, has turned to doing the non-factory farm or the ethical farming of animals,
Yeah.
animal rights, but recognizing that the system of veganism is just a religious cult.
Very much so. Very much so.
And as much as I like Alex O'Connor for the arguments he makes outside of the veganism debate, I don't think he truly appreciates just how varied the diet dynamics of the American or the world populace is. I hate to say designed, but over time we've become accustomed to being omnivores.
Yep.
And we've evolved to be, naturally selected to be omnivores. If you can do it and you can cut down on your carbon footprint through doing it, fine. But don't give me this, you're immoral for not trying, even though I would like, it'd be cool. Just can't do it.
Yeah, I tried
think
to go.
I think there's something to the position of wanting to limit the amount of suffering that one causes in the world.
Oh, definitely.
And so this is not me telling you that you're a bad person. I mean, you're probably a bad person for a variety of other reasons, for you to tell you the truth, that I don't even know about. But I mean, I'm a vegetarian. I just turned over, I just turned in August, and it has been difficult at times, but and it took me years to go back and forth to get to this position. But I am happy with it.
See, I'm in a bit of a position where I agree with a significant amount of vegan arguments, and I eat meat anyway because I acknowledge I'm a shitty person.
I live in Southern California. Veganism is a cult. It's a higher tax. They pay more money for stuff. They have their own shops. It's a way to separate yourself.
I don't think a lot of people that argue for veganism know just how expensive it is relative to the world population.
Oh yeah, true enough.
Of what they are and are not able to do.
I actually was vegetarian for about 2 years. But,
vegetarian you may be able to do for about the same cost as a meat eater, but vegan, there's no way.
I haven't really looked into.
Well, part of the reason I gave that up was because I was working closing at a sandwich shop, and at the end of the night, it wound up that there was always meat I was throwing away. So it's like, I might as well eat it rather than throw it in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I certainly wasn't doing any extra harm to any animals.
I've done that.
some of us, I tried a vegan diet. I had an ex who wanted to go all vegan, and I tried that with her, and there was just I could not get what I needed from the plant-based stuff like I could from meat. And it screwed my hypoglycemia. So I just have to eat meat. I have to eat meat every day. It's just the way it is. The only thing
what is the
vegan? Make me feel sick.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What does the vegan diet entail?
Well, it depends on.
Okay, so
there's different kinds of vegans.
There's levels of this. There's levels of this. Like, some people go so far as to say nothing that a bee has forcefully removed or moved to pollinate.
Wow.
So like avocados, you can't even eat avocados or anything like that because of the forced repositioning of insect populations to do the fertilization of the trees and plants. I mean, those are the hardcore. But that includes so many of the plant populations that are out there that I don't know that you could legitimately follow that to the T and live.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, most vegans I know tend to hold to don't consume any animal products. Where possible, don't touch animal products.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you can't buy a leather purse. You can't buy...
Now, money here actually contains animal products, so they make an exception for things like money that they kind of have to touch.
Yeah. Well, it's like me. I'm a socialist working for a hyper-capitalist company. I do it because it puts food on the table.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, there's different kinds of hyper-capitalist companies. There's the oil and gas, in terms of...
I work for an investment bank.
All right. Okay, so to me at least, from what I think of evil corporations, you have cigarette, nicotine, cancer sticks, right? And maybe so that's one end of the spectrum. While at the other end of the spectrum, you have maybe nonprofits that actually do good in the world. So where would you put your company, Swede, in the terms? And I don't want this to be me dumping on Swede tonight because I like Swede. But where would you put your banking, your profession in the spectrum of
my personal profession? I would put it near the nonprofit because what my job is to do is to prevent fraud.
Okay,
so
well,
my entire career is to actually go out to these investment people that are looking to raise capital and finding the people that are trying to defraud investors.
Good.
Or along those lines. Like everything about my job is to make sure investors don't see a zero on their account statement. But as far as the greater encompassing thing, the advisors that work with the individual, consumer, families and stuff to help them plan for retirement, they're doing some good in the world. But you turn around on the investment banking side where I am, you're over there with cigarette companies sometimes because you're funding them.
Right.
So and I can't bag on the people that do this because it's a fun job. It's like the pharmaceutical stuff that we fund is amazing. Like the stuff that we're doing, early stage funding, like that won't be out for like 10 years. Just incredible, the stuff that we're seeing and what it's meant to like look like. Like there's breast cancer drugs out there that we've put money with and invested with that could eliminate several different mutations of breast cancer just with a pill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is good in the world. At the other end of the spectrum, we're like, the way that drugs are put through the system creates the reason. It's a self-perpetuating system of why drugs are so expensive. So because drugs are not actually early stage developed at Pfizer or anywhere else. They are developed at small incubators people who left Pfizer went back to, say, Virginia Tech or the University of Iowa or someplace like that and said, I know a better way to make this drug, or I know, or Pfizer didn't want to fund me, but I found some people who did, so I quit. They go off to their garage and start formulating things up, and then their friends and family get them through the early stages, and then they call for people like us to come in and get it through this. But our job is to get them to get sold back to Pfizer. And we're selling it back to Pfizer at 30, 40 times projected earnings. And people are making 70, 80, 90 times their initial investment on return.
Wow.
Trying to. Now, again, for every 90x, you have 3 or 4 zeros.
Yeah.
This is a game of you invest. You can't just pick one because it's a 75 to 90% chance you're going to get a zero.
Oh.
But when you hit, you hit. And those are the fun ones because I've seen like 3 or 4 drugs come through and IPO out, and like one of the companies that IPO'd out and is working to make oxycodone have no more constipation side effect, which is a huge problem.
Oh, dude! After my surgery, I was so sick. I was so full of shit, literally.
Yeah,
because they had me on perks, and I just couldn't poop. I took stool softener. It took me like almost a month to poop. It was horrible.
Yeah, and then the other one is
out real quick.
The dextroamphetamines that do ADHD. They're surrounding the amphetamine molecule with sugar molecules because your body will only process so much sugar at a time.
Right.
And so if you surround, based on the amount of sugar that you surround the amphetamine molecule, you can time release the amphetamine to, instead of getting this big bump and then the extended release over time, you just get this nice general curve over that. And then also, oops, I forgot I took it right when I woke up and I accidentally took a second one. Guess what? It doesn't matter. Yeah. Because you're only going to get this curve. If you take 50 pills,
Well,
So
that
you
would
stop-
solve a lot of problems.
So now translate that to the opioids. Now you can't take any more than what's prescribed.
Now you can't, Toby.
You literally cannot ingest more than what's prescribed.
Which is really handy.
So
Yeah, well,
pretty
that's
cool
what I'm
stuff.
saying. People try to overdose or get really high off. It's not going to do anything.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, we need to do that.
So
To
that's
every,
the cool side of
every-
my business.
Yeah, we need to do that to everything.
That
Every
would save a lot
opioid.
of lives. That would
It
save a
would.
lot of lives.
The cool side.
I
But
think
then
it would.
there's the side of funding defense contractors.
I
And
think it would be important to point out that it's important work, but it can be done in a different way that doesn't jack up at the end of the day here. That doesn't jack up drug prices so that everyday people.
Well, our system is set up in that the amount of risk that people take when they invest in these things, they expect a certain amount of return, all based on the gamut of the 6 or 7 things that they go through in a PE VC fund. Until we tell people that that's no longer an expectation that they can have,
Right.
sorry, to maintain the ability to put capital into these systems to develop the drugs that we have in our current economic structure, it is what it is.
I think that
Well,
I think that one of the most
no. It isn't just that. It isn't just that because the drug companies pay off lobbyists to create the system. It's a positive feedback loop. I mean, I know people in drug companies, and they are asked to pay insurance companies, drug companies to pay into the PAC. So it isn't just the way it is. The drug companies themselves pay off politicians to create the system and to perpetuate the system.
Well, yeah, to a point, but again, you have to raise the capital to begin with.
You always do, but it's about trying to mitigate, the evil part of it. And yeah, I'm going to use the word evil. The evil part of it, where you could just have someone come in, buy a patent for a drug, and then raise it like 2,000% or so. That we saw. Who was it with the Shrilling guy, right? Matt
Yeah.
Shrilling.
Pharma Bro is evil. Pharma Bro is evil.
See, that's the side that I don't deal with. That's the side that our company actually doesn't deal with at all.
How about offshore bank accounts?
We have.
Yes.
Well, some of the hedge funds that we do are based out of the Caymans, and a couple are Jamaica, but they still pay American taxes, so it's not a big deal. The custodies of putting it in the Caymans or out of Jamaica actually allows you to open up for international markets for a lot more better hedging of currencies and a lot cheaper. So it actually makes sense what they're doing.
Yeah.
This isn't like sticking
I
things
think
in the
that-
Panama corporate to avoid all taxes. No, this is legitimate. They pay annual taxes. So when you hear about offshoring, 90% of it's legit and pays taxes and everything else. It's that 10% that you hear about. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the 10% I think this should be smashed. I wasn't trying to
I think that
implicate you.
Go ahead, Sam.
my big quibble with a lot of like how things are funded is that it's funded in such a way that there are certain things that would be really useful to research into, but that's not where the money is, so the money doesn't go there. And it self-perpetuates that certain important things won't get researched except through donations through charities or government funding, which I think is a big problem. Also, hi to Mia in chat. You're a nerd.
My favorite part about the Caymans is there's a single house, 3-story house in the Caymans that is nothing but wall to wall in every hall, in every room of the house, P.O. boxes. That is where the address is for all their domicile.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
There are post offices in Delaware. I mean, there's 3 corporations for every person in Delaware because of the Delaware's corporate rules for not being able to pierce the veil.
Right.
And so you actually have houses that are nothing but P.O. boxes in Delaware too.
Wow.
Oh, Purple,
See,
you know about that too?
Well, in El Paso, Texas, there are these office complexes that all the offices are empty. They're just used for the addresses for corporations.
Oh, that's crazy.
Nobody actually goes into the building for months at a time. But
See, I'm
there's
not
like 50
surprised.
corporations operating out of that address.
I'm
Yep,
not surprised
everything-
by any of this. I am mildly disappointed, but I'm not surprised.
Every letter that hits those PO boxes is auto forwarded onto the actual corporate headquarters in Dublin or London or Wilmington, Delaware.
Wow.
The biggest corporate haven is Dublin, by far. Ireland's corporate taxes are still lower than the United States. I think they're like 12.5.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that they fund everything is they tax the individual because they're of the belief in economics, and I'm kind of the same cloth, is that corporate taxes are paid by the consumer anyway. So why overburden them and just tax the consumer directly, and then you can pinpoint who you're taxing.
Yep.
So you go after the people making more than X on the individual side, whereas if you overtax the corporation, they're going to raise prices for everyone, and it becomes a regressive tax.
Oh, like California, where we get taxed on everything.
Yeah, as California would be a prime example of regressive taxation against the poor.
No matter what, I don't think there's anything that we don't pay tax on. I'll be shocked. I'm sure there's a lot.
Same thing everywhere. It's the rate that you pay taxes. That's the incredibly regressive part.
Yeah, our CRV is insane. They assume that you're going to recycle. They assume a lot of things, so they make you pay for the recycling. They make you pay for a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's insane here.
And
That's why
the way the EU is structured is you're either in Switzerland or you're in Ireland. And that's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of London companies, London addresses that suddenly have Dublin addresses within.
Oh, I know. Especially like banks and stuff are going to be shifting straight to Ireland soon.
So I have a question. It's just something that I heard. My brother was in the Air Force, and him and his wife, she's from the UK, they moved here, and he said one of the reasons he moved here was because in the UK they basically take half of what you earn. Is that an over-emotional military man? Or?
The way that taxing works here is, I don't remember numbers off the top of my head, so I will go with some general things. It's like, I think it's 12.5. The first 12.5 grand is tax free. Then anything from 12.5 grand to 50 grand, you're taxed 20% on. Then from 50 grand to, I don't remember what the next number up was. For argument's sake, 200 grand. You get taxed 40% on. And then anything above that, you're taxed 50% on.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But but the social programs are supposed to pick up on the other side, right?
Yeah, my brother was we like have the NHS, or we're supposed to.
Okay, so you guys have a standard deduction, but it gets canceled if you make over 100,000, whereas we give it to everyone.
Yeah.
I forget about that. Yeah, there is a certain point past which, for like 12.5 grand, every pound you make, you lose in taxes. So a lot of businesses will only pay you up to that amount, will give you benefits, and then will basically wait for you to go to like a high up management position before they'll jump you above that point.
Wow, so it is true. I thought my brother was in the Air Force, so I thought he was doing that like rah America's better kind of thing. But wow.
No, America definitely isn't, because we pay high taxes. We pay, the everyday person, they pay state taxes, they pay local taxes, they pay federal taxes. And the thing is, we get far less for our money than most industrialized countries do. And that's mostly because of the fact that we have lobbyists, once again, squeezing people for cash.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of
most people don't care about paying taxes. What is criminal is that the number one reason why people go bankrupt in the United States of America is due to medical bills.
Very much so. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah. Now, something else to note, I guess, with taxes is, as Mia pointed out in the chat, there's VAT, which basically means that whenever you buy shit, there is a tax on that. But unlike in the US, it is actually the price that it says on it in the UK. Like they add the tax into the equation when they put the price up.
Yeah, that's a much better system, I think, that you can see right with the shelf price.
So when you see a tax rate for a specific tax bracket in the United States, take that with a grain of salt, because my wife and I make a decent amount of money. And if you added federal, state, property, the tax we pay on, say, sales tax and everything else, we added up everything. It was 41%.
Mhm.
But our federal effective was 22, and that's all people will complain about.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it was only 22 and you make over X. Well, no, we paid 41. And I actually would rather pay it to the local than the federal.
So true. That's true. I found that out the hard way when I went from being extremely broke to making money. Like, I found that out, the life economics. I was like, it pays more to be broke sometimes, especially when you pay your taxes. And I'm like
I say that all the time.
I
You
would
guys
say
are
this
giving
about-
people a living wage to be unemployed, and the wage to be employed sucks. Why the fuck are they going to go get a job?
You
You can't survive off of this if you work hard, but you can be given this by the government.
And this is a history issue too, because you see, like in the Roman in the Roman Empire, they had a tax issue problem on the large scale. Is that large property owners wouldn't pay taxes, knowing that they would get refunded, that there would be a tax forgiveness every couple of years. And so there are things that only the federal government can do well.
It was the same in France, where the first and second estate didn't pay taxes.
Yeah, exactly. So and so the idea about the central government not being able to pay taxes can be a mortal blow to the society, and that's been historically played out. So there are some things that the government needs to be able to do. That is to make sure, healthcare. Obviously, healthcare has to be something secured for every single person in the states. It looks like UBI is going to be more and more necessary as we continue along. There are things that the federal government needs to do. Once again, it is just the misuse of funds due to lobbyists. That's really the core problem here.
Like, I don't mind the 41%. What I mind is them being spent on bombs.
Yep.
Yeah. And what irritates me, and I'm going to get even more agitated about this, is that all of my money is cancer money. All right, all of my money that I've saved up, all of my assets over decades is basically just cancer money and waiting to be spent into the medical industrial complex. Mm-hmm. And anyone here living in the States who doesn't think that your money is cancer money for your personal cancer fund once you get to a certain point in your life, I think you're being delusional.
I agree. My mom had cancer. My dad basically died of lung cancer.
Yeah, it is the big thing at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last year, I've lost 4 or 5 family members to cancer.
Ooh.
Cancer rates are going up because we live longer, and every year that you live longer.
Yeah.
See, people don't think about that stuff in statistics. Like, they go, "Oh, there's this percent. It's not very much." Well, it wasn't very much when there was 5 million people.
Exactly.
But now
and it
there's
wasn't very much when people
billions, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to think about sustainability. My grandfather passed, I think, 16 years, but my grandmother lived to be 99.
Oh, wow.
So he lived like 15 years longer than my grandfather. My grandfather had a considerable amount of money, but my grandmother didn't work. So by the time my grandmother had passed, all that money was spent because she needed nurses. She was living in a giant house that needed upkeep. We had to sell it was just, it was a process. So I don't think people plan for the future. My grandfather planned for the future and barely made it with my grandmother.
Yeah.
I mean, barely, and he had tons of money. So
I have a family history of people trying to plan for the future and then having gambling habits.
Oh, lovely.
My grandfather bought a bunch of property. He was smart. You can't, as long as you don't know where the deed is, as long as you don't have the deed.
I know of, in the last couple of 100 years, 4 or 5 of my relatives who've become millionaires and then lost it all to gambling.
Oh,
yeah.
I need to hear that because I had a gambling habit pre-COVID. I need to hear that.
Because like
Vegas
my
is close to my
granddad,
house.
my granddad, even for example, made I think like £2 million selling his business, and he kept like he sold most of the business and kept like one side of it effectively, because he ran a bus company, but there was also a coach side of it. He sold the bus side, and he made like £2 million off it.
Not
But
bad.
he was down to so he bought his house and still had 2 million left, was the actual figure. It was slightly more than 2 million, but the 2 million was down to I think 200 grand in like a decade.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money to spend.
You know, that's because we don't have it, Will. If we had it, we'd spend it.
That's why
You know what
I
mean?
made that.
It's true. People
No, that-
they're like, whoa, look what I have. And you just go, oh, you know what I've always wanted? And then you start
That's what
always
happened.
wanted, and then there's
Well,
nothing left.
That's what happened with my Vegas habit. On the weekends, all of us, when my ex-wife would pick up my son, I had all this time to myself, and I'm like, I'm a grown man. I could do whatever I want, and I started going to Las Vegas, and I just started gambling, and first I started
nothing good happens in Vegas. Nothing good happens in Vegas.
No,
The worst thing you can do with gambling is win on your first trip.
Oh yeah,
I know, right?
So I was gonna quit, and then I won 12 grand, and then I won 8 grand, and then I probably spent 30 trying to get that back.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. That's the problem.
This is a bit of a silly anecdote, but there is kind of a shared point to it in that, like, when I was like 6 months old, we went to South Africa, and my granddad was in one of the casinos when we were trying to leave, and he just won £1 grand on the machine, and he pressed double or nothing, and he doubled it to 2 grand. Pressed double or nothing again and again, and he got up to like 8 grand. And my dad was just like, we're going to miss our plane, come on. And he went to hit double or nothing again, and my dad just slammed the collect button. And he quite possibly would have lost that money had he played again.
Yeah.
That's the problem with gambling. It's like it's an addiction like anything else. Just like anything else. And like I still get letters. They're begging me to come back to Vegas. They are begging. Because I would go to shows too. So I'm getting tickets for the Frank Sinatra show. I'm getting all the cool stuff because I like to be entertained like anybody else, you know. Even more than COVID, and I don't think that I saw a couple like undercover videos of people just walking into casinos with temperatures when they're supposed to be checking people.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't trust it. And I have a low immune system. I'm immunocompromised, so I can't mess around. I can't play with my health, you know. I can play with my money. But
having asthma during COVID's a bitch.
Oh, I'm scared of everything. I thought I've had COVID like 10 different times. It's just, I'm a hypochondriac. I can't breathe.
I'm scared of everything. You're singing my song. That's what you are.
No, I hide. And when I go in public, you would laugh at me. I'm gonna be that guy when there's no mask. I'm still gonna be wearing a mask, still have gloves on.
I'm not be a bad policy for a long time. It may not be a bad policy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be healthy if it became a cultural norm more across the world to, if you are ill, wear a mask when you go to the shop.
I think it's going to be like Japan, where it just becomes acceptable in society.
I hope it's like Japan. I think Americans and Brits are too stupid.
I've seen it in Mexico because in Mexico City, they still burn their trash in certain places. So on certain days, people will wear masks. You know, it's just society. People have to socially. Yeah. They have to.
My boss just went to Vegas for like 3 or 4 days with his husband, and they were allowed to be in the places, but they had to like keep their mask on, take a bite, put it back on. Mm-hmm. Like they were even more strict than where I'm at. Once they get you to the table and you're so many feet away from everybody, because they're down to like 33% capacity or something. Once you're so far away from everybody, you can take your masks off. and then the waiters and waitresses keep theirs on. But yeah, apparently in Vegas right now, they're making, like, if you're at a bar, you got to like take your mask down, take a drink, put it back up, and they watch you. So
Yeah.
Don't sell it to me, B. If you don't hear from me on Friday.
damn it, Will, you behave.
No. I've had a whole year to sit at home and think about. I'm going to start driving like to the beach or something. I'll drive to like Santa Cruz and back. That takes a day and a half, you know, instead of wasting my money.
When I go out for my annual conference in Vegas, I'll tell you, and then you can come out, and then we can just avoid the casino.
Oh, I'll show you how to have fun without going to the casino. I get free tickets to all kinds of places. Might get you in trouble, but
Well, I'll go. Let me know. Shit, I've never been to Vegas. I've been around it in a truck.
I know a very easy way. I know a very easy way to get tickets. You just go into town and go anywhere near a pissy traffic cop.
Yeah.
You know, a cheap trick that I use at times to help control my own behavior is the things I don't have or the things I can't have. I learn how to hate. I found some utility in that.
I was extremely poor, so I constantly remind myself of like how it was.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that. And so like what I have now is more important than my habits. So if I had to stop anything, I would be like, oh, I'm done because I need a roof over my head, you know?
Yeah.
I remember the days when I had to split a ramen packet.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
I'm in the very lucky position that even though my mum was poor, who was the person who I primarily lived with, my dad is, I'm going to use the phrase upper lower class, but the phrase lower middle class possibly also applies.
I see that about my entire family. They're upper lower class. That's for a whole other reason.
And so, like, I'm living with my dad at the moment. I am, frankly, possibly too comfortable. But I grew up with my mum, and I saw, like, needing to make sure we cooked in batch so we could put food in the freezer so we'd have enough to eat for the week.
A long time ago, I got some. I'll shut up. I'll say it really quick, Andy, then I'll shut up. I got some really good advice from somebody who was really rich. I lived with my ex-girlfriend and her parents to the point where we lived on the west side of the house. We had our own wing, you know, and her and I, we were awful together. We were bad for each other. And I'll never forget what her stepdad told me. He looked at me and he said, affluence is a trap if it's not yours. And that was some of the best advice I ever got because I went out and, you know, got things for myself instead of living just with super rich people and never having to worry about anything, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus that wouldn't have lasted anyways. We hated each other.
Yeah, you can tell who made it. I'm going to use the phrase all on their own, even though that's impossible, but you know who put in the work and started from nothing. Versus the people that got the $1 million loan from mommy and daddy.
Oh yeah, dude. You can smell it off them. You can smell it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I actually have and I must once again acknowledge that my way of relating to stuff, because neurodivergent is anecdote, but my tech teacher at school taught the son of the CEO of an internet connection company that was relatively big, apparently, and the guy thought that he was fine and that he'd just inherit his dad's business and that would be all well and good. And so he I had a sweet kid. He just kind of in tech lesson he thought it was then suitable to mess around because he could mess around in other lessons. He lost a thumb to a machine sander.
Oh wow. I have a good friend who was a trust fund baby. He went to San Diego State, and the only thing that he has to show is that every hooker in TJ knows his name. For people in that's Tijuana for the uninitiated. So
does every purveyor of a donkey show know his name too?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, I've been all the way to Guatemala. The donkey show is real. I've been all the way. I think they do things like that on purpose for squeamish Americans so they can point and laugh at the squeamish American.
But yeah, no, that's my oldest.
Oh, I miss it when they're that young and they still like you.
Do you see this from Ox 988? The FCC has made 988 the 3-digit number to reach the suicide prevention hotline like 911.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
About time.
Right?
To know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, instead, you're suicidal. Can you please type in these 10 digits correctly while you're crying and a mess? Thanks. Yeah, no, it should be easy. I agree.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something really important, actually. And I think it's shitty that we don't have a similar system here. Now, granted, our police are actually at least semi-trained in de-escalation.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you have
Ours.
trained police? What's that like?
Well, we have trained police. It's just for killing folk.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I meant properly
Yeah.
trained.
No,
Now,
we
see,
don't. We
there's-
don't
I
have
find
trained police.
I
Let me
find
put
it really
properly
funny
trained.
that I looked at the like the kind of statement, as it were, of what the police are for in the US versus the UK. And in the UK, it's to protect the British people, and in the US, it's to protect property.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't realize that's what the US police were designed for sort of baffles me, but it does make sense when you know they literally just came from slave catchers.
So
Yeah.
when in LA we have a saying we can tell when people aren't from here because they still have faith in the system. So someone's like, I'm gonna call the cops. Like the only our fire department is bar none. Besides that, like good luck. Our fire department, if there's a fire, they will be there. They will put it out. But good luck at anything else.
Yeah, I am a bit. I will acknowledge that I am a bit of an ACAB person, but also the police around here can be reasonable. And
Well-
the police in a village near me are positively great. I don't know if Mia's still in the chat, but Hebden Bridge is a place near-ish me. It's far enough away that I'm not doxing myself by saying that. But there's like an actual just straight up weed shop there. And the police must know where it is. They see people going in and out. I'm fairly sure I've seen a cop go in there before. But they just kind of turn a blind eye and let people get on with it because it's just weed, and everyone in town does it. They'd have to arrest half the town.
Well, where is Vanta Blue moving in the states?
Yeah, Andy, what do you think about that? Prepared for not trusting anything? Is that prepared?
Once man, there's so much to unpack there. I don't know where Vanta Blue is moving in from and where they plan to be living.
Yeah, where
Depends on
are
where
you
they're
moving to? We need
Yeah.
to know a state. That's what matters.
And
That's
then
what we need
what
to
part of the state? Because even my
Exactly.
state is completely different.
That's true. Many states are different. Louisiana, don't go, Vanta Blue.
No.
Don't go, Vanta Blue.
No, it's going to flood soon.
bad.
There's not going to be anything there
Bad.
anyways.
And
And
honestly,
Louisiana
on the
stays the
north-
money and get the fuck out.
They make
This is like an
monuments.
intervention. We're going to now do an intervention. You're
Exactly.
from the Nordic countries, one of the Nordic countries, and you're moving to Louisiana, which is
Why?
arguably a third world country within the United States. And it is.
The food's good.
Yeah, the food's good, but it's run by the fossil fuel companies. And you look at the state's statistics, it is one of the. It is a wretched place.
they're
not
still
move.
fighting. They're still fighting Reconstruction in Louisiana.
Yeah,
It is. There's a saying for every state that you leave, your home state, you go back 10 years, and then Louisiana is like 200 years behind that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're rich, of course, if you have money, then every place can be okay, relatively maybe. But yeah, if you're just an everyday person, moving from a Nordic country to Louisiana, I would.
First
Even
of
if
all,
you're
you're going to
rich-
sweat your ass off, and
Mhm.
because it's so steamy and moist. The
Muggy,
air is
it
so
is.
moist.
Oh yeah, you can eat it. It is so.
You can't.
it's
You'd be like,
soup.
wait a minute, I'm thirsty. Oh, I'm good. I can last another 10 minutes.
The state's
no,
run by
it's
the
bad,
fossil fuel industry there too. From what I understand about the state government, there's just a lot of bad in Louisiana.
Yeah, the way that state is organized with the parish system and everything, like, it's hard to understand how all that works and how what powers each thing has. And like, I'm used to like the county government and then the city, county, state. Down there, it's like the parish actually runs the state.
That's insane.
It's true.
Yet you can walk around with alcohol on the streets.
Well, you have wards, you have parishes, you have the state, you have the city, and they're all fighting each other. And they all have their own rules, and then they all have their own like mafia-like control over everything.
Don't get me wrong. I've gone to a Super Bowl party in the 9th Ward. That is a once in a lifetime kind of thing, you know. It's kind of like San Francisco Pride. You should go at least once, even if you're straight. Just go at least once.
Stand back and watch it happen, man.
Wear sunglasses.
We drove through the lower 9th Ward after Katrina. That was humbling.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Everybody, I have to run. I could only stay for this amount of time.
Oh, well, thank you for coming, Andy.
I have to run.
Andy.
Very nice.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I'm sorry if I insulted anyone.
No, not at all.
Andy, you usually don't do that. You usually don't do that. You should just say, "I'm sorry if I acted too smart," because that's what you do when you come on.
I'm wearing a Mitt Romney t-shirt. See, I'm wearing a Mitt Romney t-shirt.
I wasn't even going to bust on you for that either.
See, that's how nice Andy is on my show.
I behaved myself. This is me behaving myself. My own channel, Cheap Plug, is Laughing in Disbelief. I do things over there.
No,
but thanks for having me on, B. Thanks for having me on. And once again, thanks for everyone tolerating me. I appreciate it.
No, you're good, man. Have a great
Take
night.
care.
Bye.
Later.
See you, Andy.
This shirt is actually...
Hold on. For those of you who don't know, Laughing in Disbelief, he does a stream at 9 a.m. Eastern. And then he's doing an open mic after that. The morning stream, he talks about news and current events, basically, discusses them. And he's very interactive with the chat, and that's one of the reasons I like Andy, honestly. So, and then in the o'clock in the afternoon, p.m. Eastern, he also does a stream. So,
okay. You cut out.
Check it out, guys. Carry on.
So
what you just,
Sam needs to be up first.
Yeah, Sam was next.
What you just said a minute ago about, was it San Francisco Pride? Well,
yes.
I feel like that's to be said over here about Brighton Pride. Like Brighton is basically considered gay central over here. Besides maybe like Birmingham.
Sam, if you want the best United time in the United States, Folsom Street Fair, San Francisco. Will back me up on that.
Absolutely.
I've had a bunch of people recommend San Francisco to me, and then there's me who's like, I want to visit Texas and Florida.
No, it's San Francisco. You only go to San Francisco during the Folsom Street Fair. It is the wildest thing you have ever seen in your life.
Ever.
That's going to be interesting.
San Francisco, it's legal to walk around with your boobs out, no matter who you are. San Francisco is lit. It is a fun place.
That is the everything from the BDSM to the pet play to the crowds, that it is eclectic, I think would be the right word.
I miss San Francisco. I would live there if I was a billionaire. But I can only afford Southern California. I can't afford Northern California.
Maya, to answer your question, your query, if you will, I decided to do open mics on all my streams from now on. Unless somebody comes on and there's a big group of people who want to talk about one certain topic. Otherwise, I'm just doing open mic. So anybody that wants to come in, the link's up above there, the StreamYard link. Feel free to hop in. I'm going to try to keep it down to 6 to 7 people per stream from now on, because I don't want to make it so people can't talk.
Yeah,
that's what happens. So
long story short, and I'll shut up. I love my Mitt Romney t-shirt because in 2012, They had this giant. My town's nothing but Mormons. They had this giant booth, Mitt Romney for president, and I'm walking around. I walked up with my son. They were like, "Hi, sir." They gave me one of everything, and I was like, you know what? You guys are kind of awesome for being inclusive, even though I don't agree with anything that you stand for. So I love free stuff, and I still rock my Mitt Romney shirt. Almost 7 years later.
Romney is for universal health care. If you nailed him down to it, he would vote. He would actually vote. I think he would vote for Medicare for all.
He's like, what is it? Chaotic good.
Yeah.
He's the definition of chaotic good. Like, he was there marching with people in DC. Like, I really respect Mitt Romney. And if you don't respect him, go look at his family photo. He cares.
Yeah.
He has someone who looks like me in his family
Policy
photo.
wise, we can disagree with him all day long, but even then, I think he truly believes some of his policy positions is the best way forward. So he's trying to argue in good faith.
But he looks beyond what he is and tries to help people. I respect anybody who does that, because in many ways I do that. Yeah. I help people that I don't necessarily agree with their lifestyle, and I try to help them.
Yeah.
I've heard very little about the guy just generally, but from what I've heard of him, I feel like the phrase "good for a Republican" could apply.
But he's an Eisenhower Republican.
Yeah.
He's a what?
Like,
I would say he's an Eisenhower Republican.
Oh, Eisenhower. Yeah.
But as usual, Maya's right, and he does care more about businesses but he's a politician. Let's be real.
I know. They're all in the pocket of somebody, man. That's just the way it is. That's what people are like, oh, your politician sucks, mine rocks. I'm like, no, they all suck.
I'm not going to
suck. You just got to try to get the lesser of the evils. That's it.
I'm not going to
we're going for harm reduction here.
Exactly. That's why I voted. That's why I voted for Biden and Kamala Harris. If you're from California, like, most people don't like Kamala Harris, but you know what? They were better than the alternative.
Oh my God! By like 552 miles and 66 cents.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, ridiculous, man. I feel like just generally, but also this does apply in the US too. A lot of people seem to think that accelerationism would functionally be okay, but there are not enough accelerationists that it would work.
See, here's the problem with accelerationism is that it runs over everyone it purports to help.
Mm-hmm.
It's Tank Man getting run over by a tank.
Yeah.
As
a disabled queer trans person, it's like, yeah, no, fuck you guys.
Yeah, you would basically that they would say it's worth it for you to lose all your rights so that you are forced to revolt.
Yikes.
That's accelerationism.
That is accelerationism, and that's why I'm like, if you had like 95% of people being accelerationists already, then if you had like an overwhelming number, you'd be fine, because they've got to deal with it or lose 95% of the population or whatever the fuck anyway.
And I think people need to realize the phrase "eat the rich" is also an accelerationist phrase, because the whole phrase is when the poor have nothing left to eat, they will eat the rich. So it's basically saying we need to have enough of the proletariat starving so that they go after the rich. It's an accelerationist policy. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's the same thing. What's that? Sorry.
I was gonna say I have the Aerosmith song stuck in my head now. Eat the rich. Sorry, I'm just showing my age.
I can understand the sentiment behind what a lot of people mean by "eat the rich," but I do know the whole phrase, and it frustrates me. And I think that a lot of people don't. Like, a lot of people will take a political stance without reading any theory, and like the fact that they've chosen to take a stance is great, but I feel like they should at least like ask someone who's read theory first.
But that goes back to what I was saying about taxes. Like, I'm not anti-tax. I just want to know where my money's being spent. I'm not against taxes. I'm glad that I have a functioning freeway. The streets are paved. The city workers are paid. I'm okay with that,
Hell yeah.
I just don't want
I just
my
don't
money.
want $1 trillion fighter jet that doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
Oh, come on. It's so cool to look at, Swede.
Unless-
I mean, functionally, I think that the point of taxes should be to form the bare bones of a societal structure, and maybe that's very leftist of me to think.
That's actually not true. If you get into the later stages of economic theory, taxes are to control the money supply and control inflation. It's not to fund the spending of the government.
It was see more my point in there is like not necessarily what it should do, but what pragmatically we'd like it to do, not what it does do.
But debt financing for all government spending is theoretically possible. You just control the money supply through fiscal policy, which is taxes. It's called modern monetary theory.
Now, I'm not deep enough into my economic reading to know all the terms here. So just to check, is that one of those US specific things, or is that a general thing?
That's a general thing. It was made up by a English person, I think.
Okay.
Why is Maya gonna keep being right all the time?
No,
Love you, Maya.
it's
You're
so
great.
true because
That's right.
I'm trying to remember what the tax incentives were, but there was a lot of people refinancing in my neighborhood, and there was some tax break or something that Trump had where you were basically getting a lot of money back to work on your house and everything. And a lot of my neighbors did that, and it only benefited people in a certain tax bracket whose houses were over a certain the property value was over a certain amount.
I'm sure it was over 300,000 or 400,000 or something that the common Joe Schmo couldn't afford.
Dear.
My
Redlining? What's that?
My neighbor just sold they just sold their house for 700,000 or trying. They're probably they might even get 750. All that does is make me and all my other neighbors paint our house and mow our lawn. And I was washing my car the other day, like, I can't believe they sold their house for that much.
Yeah, you're right, Ox. Sad but true. Look, I'm ex-Army, and I bitch about how much money the military spends all the time. You know, it wasn't like that until after World War II, I feel like, and then it just got crazy after that. Maybe it was Vietnam, but somewhere in that era.
No, it was Eisenhower warned us against it because it was happening when he was president, and his outgoing address warned us of the industrial military complex.
I don't know when he was president. I suck at history. 50s. I told you this.
50s.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm not far off. It was in that range. Okay.
Read his farewell address. It's prophetic.
You know, I heard it a long time ago when I was young, but you know, you just don't. Didn't absorb a lot when I was young. I didn't really pay attention. But I have meds now, so I'll watch it again or listen to it again.
It is incredibly prophetic, and it's sad. You listen to it, and you almost are like, "Wow, we fucked up."
Yeah. I always look up the numbers of the Pacific Fleet of just what they'll admit was just on my side of the ocean. It's always some outrageous amount of ships that are in the water right now. And those are the ones they'll admit to.
I find it really fucking funny when I hear Americans I know complaining that too much is spent on NASA.
Yeah, and they're what, like 0.0002% of the entire budget?
Yeah, something like that. And then the US, isn't the military in the US like a full percentage of something?
The military is 22% of the federal budget.
Okay. You can tell I'm not from the US or well-read.
Anybody that says it's half doesn't know the difference between discretionary and full budget spending. So discretionary spending, it's about 45%.
Whoa.
But if you include Medicare, Medicaid, and everything, all the other things that we spend money on, it goes down to 22%.
I mean, even then, spending a fifth of government's money that they've got on it's not necessary.
We spend more than the next 9 countries combined.
Is it 9 now? I thought
we have a larger navy than China. Hold on, let me go back because I don't want to misquote. Oh wow, I couldn't believe the 7th Fleet. No, that's not it. The US.
How many carriers do we have?
See, it's not giving me. It just the Chinese Navy approaches 2 million tons, while the U.S. Navy tops 4.6 million tons, according to a 2019 estimate. God, we're just one big bomb. That's what our country is. It's just one giant bomb.
Yeah,
were
I
built
mean,
to find
given our, I only know the number for our like total military expenditure, being 2.1% of NATO's 1 and a bit thousand billion.
I mean, the United States was rebuilt in the 1950s and 60s through destruction of labor protection, destruction of worker rights, and rebuilt into a weapon against the Soviet Union. And that was what our spending was based upon. That is what our culture was based around. That is entirely what the United States became about. And then in 1991, we had an identity crisis. And we still have one.
Boy, isn't that true?
Yeah, and
what are we?
There are 490 ships just off the coast of California right now that they'll admit to. That's just off the coast of California. Yikes.
Now, Swede, with you mentioning 91 and this being about history, I've nearly made this comment several times, but well, since we're talking about history, 90s is history, right?
What?
Well, anything is history. Last year's history.
Sorry, that was more of a cheeky comment on the fact that like I don't remember 9/11. I was not born then.
Yeah,
we know you're a baby.
Oh, you're making me feel old.
I just enjoy making Will feel old.
You do like.
Wait a minute, Will. You're not even as old as I am. Everybody here needs to shut the fuck up right now. How old are you, Swede?
40.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I almost didn't see 41, so
everybody shut. Yo, no, I get it. I almost didn't see 36. I think it was. Yeah.
I was trying for a while myself too.
In a week and a half, I'll be 41.
Awesome! Happy birthday
on April 3rd.
Happy for fucking making it birthday.
Happy birthday! That's the day after my dad's birthday. Actually,
you're like a full year older than I am.
So yeah.
Good morning,
guys. Chat. See, when I talk, you should all bow down and shut up because I'm old.
And then May 9th, I consider my second birthday.
I've been told that like
we should do a stream and celebrate that.
I hope I'm actually in Vegas.
Well,
you should do a stream
for you while you're gone.
Do a stream in Vegas. They have Wi-Fi.
No. The conference is in Phoenix. It'll be because if I can go on a conference, that means because corporate rules means I was vaccinated and I can go to the conference.
There's a casino outside of Scottsdale.
So, I see. I don't gamble anymore, but just can't do it anymore. But the only reason I hope that I'm not around on the 9th is because that means I'm vaccinated.
Hey, just to be clear, Purple and Sandy, I meant the people on the panel. I didn't mean anybody in the chat. I know some of you people older than me. I know. You win. Yeah. I wasn't there for the landing. I wasn't there for any of that shit.
I was born
in the best time, right at the end of the Vietnam War, so I got to miss all the bullshit.
I was in first grade and I saw the Challenger incident happen.
I remember the Challenger.
I remember the Challenger incident happening. I was in like 12th grade.
And then I had my childhood destroyed when somebody told me they didn't die in the explosion.
Yeah, because they got ejected and they flew.
No, maybe I was like 15.
And they fell all the way back to Earth alive.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
So my dad worked for NASA.
No, they didn't. They died of a heart attack way before they hit the ground. There's no way you lived through that. No way.
The explosion did not kill them, though.
Right. But that's what they say. More people die from heart attacks when falling than actually hitting. They're dead before they hit.
My dad
in most
actually
cases.
worked for NASA, and he worked when they did the relaunch. I have one of my patches is America's Pride, get back to work, and it's a space shuttle. It was a big deal especially after the relaunch.
Good morning, everybody.
How's it going?
Hi,
Yeah.
Q.
Hi, baby.
I forgot to say hi to you. I'm sorry, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, we have
I'm
the
good.
Q.
Oh yeah, man. I get the good people on my shit, Swede.
The QAnon.
No.
Oh no, not the no. I'm gonna go drink a gallon of antifreeze. I'll see you guys later.
Just a pizza parlor, man. It's just a pizza parlor.
Hey, if you're gonna overdose on opioids, do it now before they get that sugar coating on it, because then you're screwed. You're not gonna overdose on
Exactly,
it. So if you're gonna
yeah.
do it now, buddy.
You know the most painless way to do it is actually to go drink a couple things of eyedropper. If you're
You know
gonna
what's
OD.
crazy is in
Ew.
yeah. Do you guys know
Okay.
in 2 months I'll be? Oh, actually no. Actually, next month on the 20th, I'll be 4 years sober.
Awesome.
Oh, good
By
Yeah,
the
for
way,
you,
boy,
don't,
you're
man.
so
don't
good.
do
I knew that
Heroin.
was coming
eyedropper
up.
stuff. Two vials of eyedropper will kill you.
2
Yeah,
vials.
Of eyedroppers of like Visine, because it gets into your stomach and constricts all your blood vessels.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
See,
Well, that's an interesting way to kill somebody.
Yeah, and I found that out by reading the story of a wife who killed her husband by putting it in a soup.
You know, actually, I'm gonna tell you something. If everybody wants to know a fucked up bar trick, this is what you do. If somebody's being an asshole at the bar, wait till they go to the bathroom. 3 drops. Don't do more than that, because that's hospitalization. Don't go up to 6. 3 drops in their drink. It will give them the running fucking shits for about 12 hours.
Wow.
Nice.
They will leave that bar really fast because they will just be like, "Oh shit," and then they'll shit their pants, forget to the bathroom, and
I'm
they'll
gonna
leave.
take notes. I'm taking notes.
3 drops, but
I'm
don't go
vindictive.
more than 3 because it's
Yeah,
seriously
I would
funny.
avoid doing it at all because of how deadly this shit is.
Yeah. Now, see, when I when
Did it back in the day.
discussing what I found that before, like, friends of friends or whoever would just leave drinks with me, and I'm like, are you sure? Because like at the time I was being very masculine presenting, and it was like, are you sure you're leaving a drink with me?
In LA, if you were seen putting eye drops in a drink, you'd get tackled and arrested out here. Being roofied is a big deal out here.
Yeah.
People
Yeah, but
people have an eye out now.
Yeah, there is one
happened.
one specific guy in town that will not come within 100 feet of me, because he knows I'm still pissed off that he tried to drug my friend.
Yeah, I actually had somebody do that to me. It was fucking horrible, and everybody looked at me differently afterwards, and we didn't know I was that happened at the time. I figured it out later, but I'm telling you, I was sick for 2 fucking days. It was horrible.
I've
Yeah,
been
she-
roofied before.
She
The
ended
day
up
after-
being
The day after, it was the night Thanksgiving night, so the day after Thanksgiving, we had to put up the Christmas tree, and I'm trying to be all joyful and merry, and while I go in there and dry heave all day, it was fucking horrible, man.
Yeah, my friend was hospitalized for I think 3 days, and she because she drunk about half of a pint of spiked booze before she noticed.
In high school, I knew somebody who got their drink spiked with half a vial of acid, and they were in a coma for like a month and a half.
Ugh.
Ooh. Holy
this is-
shit, I bet they were.
This is back in the day when acid and mushrooms, well, I don't know if they're everywhere now, but you know, in the 90s they were everywhere. And she got it slipped into her drink, and I eventually got kicked out of the school. She showed up out of nowhere like 6 months later, and she didn't know who we were. And we all grew up. We all grew up with her.
Oh, talking about frying some brain cells.
Literally had to get to know her all over again. Literally.
Wow, that
Was she still the
that's
same
something.
person?
No, because you are what your brain tells you that you are, and if you get
experience.
rewritten, yeah.
Life experience is a lot, right?
So if like I always say, like if you got a major head injury right now, you would change.
Of
Oh,
course.
I mean,
they
look
warned
at
my
Phineas
wife.
Gage.
They warned my wife about it after I was on the heart lung machine for open heart surgery,
Mhm.
because you're on the heart lung machine for so long during it that there's a pretty good chance that you come out with a different personality.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We are our brain chemistry. It's not like we were magically there's no magic behind it. You get hit in the head, you'll be someone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, sweet, good job kissing her ass and getting her to like you now. No, I'm kidding.
Oh dear. I mean, there was a pretty good kind of demonstration of that with Phineas Gage. I know that's really cliche to go to, but he is the obvious example.
I don't even know who that is.
No idea who you're talking
shit.
about.
Sorry, I forget that. I forget that I'm just massively a nerd. So, Phineas Gage was, I think, a railroad worker who he was looking down a bit of machinery that had like a red hot piece of metal in it that hadn't fired, and he was standing in front of it, and it just delayed, fired straight through his head. It was so hot it sealed itself up behind him.
Awesome.
And so he survived, missing a decent chunk of his prefrontal cortex and memory.
What the fuck?
Awesome.
And he went home and he became aggressive and nasty. He didn't remember some of his friends, I think, and he was a completely different person.
Awesome.
My goodness.
And so
that's awesome. That's an awesome story.
Well, I put the link for his the wiki page, as in weekly done page, in the chat there, if anybody wants to check it out.
But B, I was gonna say real quick. So on the 20th, I'll be celebrating 4 years from heroin and opioids, and I'm trying to get a bunch of people together and have a little thing. So I would love it if you could show up.
What day?
It's the 20th of April.
20th of April. I will check my calendar, sir.
See, that is actually a few days after my birthday, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
420.
I was trying to be nice.
That's a Tuesday, so I work at my job Tuesdays. But if you do it in the evening later,
that's what I plan on doing. Yeah, I plan on doing it later.
I'm available from 8 p.m. Eastern on.
Yep.
On Tuesday. So okay. But yeah, you could start without me and I'll come in later. But yeah, I'd be happy to come in, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was gonna say, since we were talking about resetting people, I'll tell you one thing. I overdosed 3 different times, and the third one actually fucking changed me. It changed me for a bit of a better, because I used to not believe anybody gave a shit about me, and now I can believe that certain people give a shit about me.
Well, the
really
bottom line
change.
is not everybody cares about everybody.
Right.
So what I do is the people I truly care about that are close to me, I just worry about them.
Exactly.
And fuck everybody else. Because I know I'm a good person. I just don't give a shit. I know that's horrible, but I just don't care.
I try to help where I can.
Showed, what I meant by that is it showed me who the people that did care about me were there.
Oh yeah.
Because there was only
you find out.
There were only a few people. Yeah, there were only a few people at the hospital, and that's who.
If you're trying to overcome something like an addiction, or you're deathly ill or anything, the people that are there 6 months to a year or more after the onset and when they find out, those are the people who care about you. Because everybody will show up for the first couple months, or maybe the first month, or maybe the first 3 months.
Exactly.
But the people that still keep coming back and you're still fighting, like my sister Susan was sick with cancer for 7.5 years before it got her. 7.5
Right.
years. I'm gonna tell you, she had 0 friends left at the end.
Yep.
She had 0 friends left after about year 1.5 to 2. She quit going out and partying. She wasn't at the corporate functions. She wasn't blah, 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 blah. And they all just drifted away. And she was left with her immediate family and 1 friend. And that was it. And those are the people I give a fuck. So.
I've overdosed.
Right, exactly.
And there's I still, what B said is true, because I OD, gosh, it's a long time ago, like almost 15, 16 years ago. And I talked to 2 people that visited me in the hospital, and they still call me once a year. They still text me. They still, send me emails, So you do find out who your friends are, but it's more, I think sometimes it's more about growing as a person,
Yeah. I mean, I have the only reason that my best friend particularly trusts me, because they don't really trust many people, is that I've sat through kind of we've known each other for kind of like, I think we're coming up on like 5 years now or some shit. And since about 3 months after we met, I've been willing to like sit up at night and chat with them if they've had a shit day with their parents because their dad's abusive. And so they're like, okay, no, I think after several years of this, I can probably trust that you actually give a shit.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, can I give props to somebody real quick in the chat?
Do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Never Again is almost 19 years fucking sober, and that's amazing. So
It really is.
Fucking
Man.
congrats, man. That's almost 2 decades, but that's fucking insane.
Congratulations. That's
Congrats.
longer. That's longer sober than I've been alive.
Been alive. I knew you were gonna say that.
Damn it!
Sam's
Making
like
me feel old
18.
again.
Did you
Making
just
me
turn
feel-
18, Sam?
No, I'm turning 19 next month.
Oh, that was last year. Okay, never mind.
So
I don't know. Time flies.
I'm no longer the younger person in the room. Haha.
Yeah, and
feel
the
old
thing is
again.
that I don't intentionally bring up my age except to make Will feel old. It just sort of
works.
comes up sometimes.
It works. I'll tell you the one thing that makes me feel old is that I'm not invincible anymore. When I was in my 20s, I fell off a motorcycle and literally stood up and laughed at my motorcycle. I got in a car accident 2 years ago. It took me a month and a half to walk again. So, you don't recover. You don't recover when you're older than you do when you're younger at all. At all. So take care of yourself is what I have to say.
I need to head up and go spend some time.
I mean, Never Again, real quick.
It's great talking to you, sweet.
So I will see you guys later.
Thanks for coming in, sweet. I appreciate you. Take care, man.
Yep. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Yo, real quick, can I say one more thing?
Go.
Can y'all hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, Never Again said it was a stupid fucking it was a stupid trap to fall into. But I mean, dude, I feel that way every time I think about it. So you're not the only one, but that shit's impressive as fuck. Like 19 fucking years, bro. You should be celebrating that too.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Will.
Oh no, never mind. Never mind. It's not important. I'm like looking at the phone, watching hockey and the stream at the same time, and listening to what Q is saying.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Like, dude, the reason why I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the first year that I'm celebrating my sobriety, and the only reason is because somebody told me a statistic about opioid overdoses, and I'm one of the luckiest fucking people to be alive right now because a lot of them don't fucking survive that shit.
Well, it depends on whether they have Narcan on hand.
Nowadays, definitely.
That's it, man. That's it. I know there's people
Right.
whose children or even like medium-aged people that have teenagers whose kids have overdosed, and they get prescriptions for Narcan at the pharmacy. So, because they know their kid's going to overdose again. Like, how fucked up is that? First of all, you're a shitty parent. But anyway,
Right.
Don't even get
no,
me
it's
started. I had a family member who my uncle basically paid for my cousin's heroin addiction for over 20 years. And now my cousin, and I say for over 20 years because my cousin has been on methadone for over 11 years. And you want to know why? Because he has consistent insurance that'll pay for it, no questions asked. Because he has money, and so he basically has been on methadone. So if you go from heroin to methadone, you're going from one drug to another if you've been on it for 11 years.
I've never even used methadone. I had like the worst time quitting, but I didn't use that shit because I knew I would get addicted to it.
It's one of those things. Are you I'm not trying to be nosy, are you still in a program? Anything that has to say anonymous at the end?
I do something that's, in my opinion, better than NA, which is smart therapy, and it just helps a lot more.
Okay, good, because NA is a cult, and if you said you were an NA, I was gonna go talk to you.
they're all religious cults, man. They are. They tell you to pray and all this shit, and that's what they want them to do. They just want them to pray and be religious, and that's going to fix the fucking problem. It has nothing to do with the addictive personality or the genetics.
It's a rodeo.
But you gotta understand. But what you guys gotta understand is it does help certain people.
Okay,
like,
yeah, but
I don't agree with it. But if those people that are getting help from it believe in it, then fuck it. Even if I know people that go to NA that are hardcore atheists, but it still helps them.
Me too. I knew people that were hardcore atheists. I ran into a cult situation to the point where I think Narcotics Anonymous is a cult, and AA as well, to the point where our local governments should not be recommending it as rehab, because what happens is, some like 19-year-old girl gets stuck in a room with a bunch of 40-year-old men. It's just all bad. It's just all bad to me. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice.
I have opinions about the NA, but that's a whole rant that we do not need.
Yeah, exactly. I respect you, Q. I respect you. So if it worked, it worked.
Here's the thing. See, NA didn't really work for me because, like, the place that I was going and the people that were going to NA were the fucking kids that their parents would basically get them fucking methadone every day if they could.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they weren't being serious, and I stopped going to NA and I found the smart therapy thing, and people are there to be fucking serious. They're like, nobody really preaches God. They say if you want, there's NA programs for it, but there's also like recovery groups instead of NA. But like the thing is, I don't like NA personally. Like I think.
Oh, never again. You and I are in the same boat.
Like the way I see it is, you shouldn't have to hand yourself over to a god to be considered sober. Like, I'm sorry, but
absolutely. Or the higher power of your understanding, which is just gobbledygook to bring you right back around to God.
God love that speaking in tongues.
I just want to clarify one thing. When I said like the anonymous programs, I didn't mean the people in them.
Yes.
I meant the program itself is cult-like. Okay, carry on.
But there was a NA group when I lived in Las Vegas that did not, like, they took NA seriously, but they didn't preach any of the God shit. They're like, we don't do that here.
Oh, that's good.
Because every single one of them were fucking atheists.
To lighten up the mood, my ex-wife and I, we were in family court, and in my neck of the woods, if you're in family court long enough, they make you go to a program. you know what? I'm not gonna even get deeper into the story, but I wasn't using, so it was torture. Really, what happened was I ended up having sex with everybody's mom and dad. That's really what happened to lighten up the mood. Because what happens is you go to NA and you meet these people, you're like, oh, let's go out to eat. And like, it's just for a bunch of people to, it's another social club. Some people do dry out. Some people do sober up. And then there's other people who take a newcomer chip every time they walk in because they can't stop using. I say go have fun. I say go enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
If you're like that.
Well, like I always say, if you're okay with it and you're not hurting anybody else, i.e., you have no family at home suffering or anything, I don't really give a fuck what you do. Go ahead. Just don't hurt anybody else when you do it.
That's what I said in the
You
beginning.
want to jump off a bridge? Go ahead. Just don't hurt anybody else.
That's my whole thing.
This is kind of fairly tangential. But I read a statistic earlier, and it was from a group called Mind Body Green, which I found to be relatively reliable in the past. Were citing something that said the average number of sexual partners a person has in their lifetime is 8, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so I'm a whore.
Yeah.
I guess we're all whores then.
Wow.
Whore.
Pick it.
Does it matter if they're the same sex or not?
Does it matter what year?
Because my number on that end is way higher.
What about like 8 a year?
I was gonna say I feel like for gay people the number is probably significantly higher. because
I don't know if this is an LA thing, but like we call a same-sex relationship for a month, we call that a gay year.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's the thing. See, what happens is when people come out of the closet, they shouldn't go into a relationship. I did that. And luckily she was like, I'm not feeling it. I was like, all right, peace out. And I went around and had some fun. But you shouldn't do that. Go around and fuck everybody you want and then find somebody.
See, exactly.
Because you're going to, because you're excited. You're like, I get to have sex with the people I want to have sex with.
Yep.
Yeah, see, since I've come out as non-binary, I've entered into a relationship, and it's like closed romantically but open sexually, effectively, which means I get to do both. I can have my hoe face.
Right.
Live your life.
And a lot of people are like that. I know couples. I used to know a couple that they had just. I got a few stories about that, but one of them was they had to like tell the other person, "Oh, hey, I'm going to go out. I'm going out." Oh, okay. See you later. Kind of thing. And then I knew couples that they had to know the person. I had this chick that was married to this truck driver, and he was gone all the time, and they were not interested in having sex with each other at all. They just were together for the kid. So they both had girlfriends and boyfriends or whatever on the side. And she was like, so she was like, hey, come screw me, but you have to talk to my husband first. So I got on the phone with him. We got along great. We laughed our asses off. He said, hey, I'm home 1 weekend a month. Don't be at my house. And I said, cool, man. And she she gave me gas because I was like, I don't have gas money to come out there. I was like just getting out of basic EMT school. So I was fucking broke. And so she like gave me a gas card, put gas money on it. So I come out there and screw her. It was great. She fed me. She paid for the expensive hotel. I didn't pay a dime.
That's quite fun. See, I'm polyamorous, so I have multiple partners as well, which, I can't wait to come out to my more conservative relatives after COVID.
See, I was polyamorous, but like for a long time. I've been poly for a while, but when I came out as non-binary last year, all my friends are like, dude, how did you not know you were non-binary for this long? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, because I didn't even know the terminology existed. I was just like, wait, because I was talking to a buddy and I'm like, yo, is there like a thing where you don't feel like you're a gender at all? They're like, yeah. And they told me, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm that. And he goes, you're pretty sure? Really?
By the way, I found the statistic for gay men and lesbians. Lesbians averaging at 12, gay men averaging at 30. Serious relationships.
30? Yeah, I believe that.
Serious.
That's bullshit. Well, there goes the 1 month thing. Yep.
I was serious. Hey, B, that is serious. I was serious about everyone. I loved them all.
I was serious about all of them. If it was
No.
2 hours or 2 years.
See, my problem is that I might slightly still have crushes on actually all of my exes. Which would be fine. Which would be fine if I didn't play D&D with 2 or 3 of them.
See, but I have exes where we have like real life beef with each other. See, I have exes where we have real reasons to not like each other. So there's a couple where we're like, no, can't be in the same room.
I just don't even talk to them anymore. I have a couple exes I'm still friends with. 2 of them.
I've never had a fall. I've never like broken up because of a falling out thus far. So.
Oh, before I forget, I have.
I ain't playing. Go ahead.
I have a funny story about. I don't know if they were poly or if they were. I don't know. So, in the Narcotics Anonymous days, because I'm a hoe. This lady was like, "Oh, I live in your neighborhood. Can I get a ride home?" That was code for "Let's go have sex." I was like, "Sure, I'm getting divorced. I'll bring your friend. I don't care, you know." So we get in my truck and we come to my house. We hang out. We do our thing. I take her home to her husband. Okay, so I had my other friend over who eventually became my best friend, and this is actually the day she looked at me and she's like, "You're a legend. You're crazy person." So we're eating dinner and she comes to the door with her husband. I have security cameras. My pops at the time lived 2 houses down. I called my dad. I was like, "Hey, there's some weirdo at my door." That was code for like, "Come heated because you might have to smoke this dude." Because I effed his wife and he's 10 times bigger than me. So at my door, I have a giant latch. So you can't just walk in my house. I have a screen door I made and it's heavy. So they're standing there. The screen door's latched. I'm not kidding you. She's like, "Oh, I left my underwear." And my friend's just sitting there and I see her just getting red. And it's not that like I'm mad at you. She's trying not to laugh in my face.
Right.
And so I let her in and her husband's like, "Hey man, don't make it weird." And I'm standing there because he doesn't know there's a black man standing at the end of the driveway. He has no idea. And he looks at me and he's like, "Hey, can I watch?" And I said, "What?" He's like, "Can I watch you F my wife?" Then my daddy comes walking up just crying with laughter.
Oh, that's great. See,
and he's like, "You want to what?" He's like, "I just want to watch." It was so people are freak. People are freak.
See, that's what it is, Maya. She told him, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I want to watch."
Yeah.
So she used the underwear as an excuse just to set up her husband. Yep.
It wasn't even in the house. Like I said, I have security cameras, and plus, I'm a bit of a clean freak because I have a kid. So I can't just be messy like that.
Oh, I done burned them bitches last night after you left, ho.
but still to this day, when I'm bored, I'm like, "What?" We called them the Germans because of where they were from and how they like to swing. So the Germans. But they gave me their number. They tried to set up this thing, but it was just weird to me. And I'm like, "Nah, it's not my thing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned my limits.
The worst that would happen is he jerk off in the corner. But I really don't want to see a guy do that in like near me.
Even that I'm into that, he still wasn't my type. He was just, the whole thing was weird. The whole thing was weird, But that's just
a lot of my polyamorous buddies give me shit because I'm also demisexual, and I am now my all of my buddies that are poly have given me the nickname Demi because for me, like, I can date multiple people, but if I'm not like super connected with you, I'm not gonna fuck you. Like,
yeah, the thing is that I'm the same, but being non-binary and wanting to transition to be androgynous and them being demisexual means that my dating pool is very limited.
Oh yeah, same. Very much same.
Honestly,
Yeah, like
I tried the one night stand thing, but it just didn't do anything for me. Like, she'd get off and be all happy, and I'd be like, all right. I have to have an emotional connection. I'm a mushball. I know it, but I have to have an emotional connection.
like,
It's just not
for
happening.
For me, it doesn't even really have to be emotional. Like if I feel like you're dumber than me, I can't do it.
I'm
just
really
can't.
weird in that, like, I can fuck someone who I don't know, but I will not be sexually attracted to them. It will be sex for the sake of sex.
Right.
And like, I'm pretty sure I have friends who I'm pretty sure after their breakup, I accidentally ended up going further with their ex than they ever did in their relationship over like 6 months.
I grew up on 90s rap, so I have a healthy disconnection between love and sex. I grew up on Nate Dogg and Snoop Dogg. Like, I have a healthy disconnection between, like, I could totally have sex with someone I don't like, as long as it's mutual and we like. Hey, let's hang out.
You gotta admit though, Will, that's pretty common for guys. Like, that's a guy thing. Guys can go around. Most guys can go around and just fuck people, and a lot of women have to have some kind of emotional connection, or they're just not gonna enjoy it.
I agree, but the older that I get, the more I want an emotional connection. So I always say I'm retired. I always say, like, I'm not that hoe anymore. I'm not promiscuous at all. I'm retired because I want something of meaning, because I had a bunch of one night stands, and that, like, going to Vegas was kind of like my last bastion of partying. For, like, Vegas is the last place to go when you're older. That's like,
right.
There's nowhere else where you could go party in public like that. A lot of it's just me trying to relive my youth.
Dude, I tell you, there's one person that I just cannot connect with, and it's somebody with a Valley Girl accent. I just can't. Those accents fucking infuriate me.
You wouldn't survive 10 minutes out here, bro.
Oh, I do. I lived in Vegas. Like, actually, I lived in Vegas, and I hated my job because there were so many of them. I'm like, gee, fucking hell.
No, because California, where I live, it's only a 3.5 hour drive. 4 if you go the speed limit.
Dude, I hated living in Vegas, mostly because it was so fucking hot all the time.
See, that's my kind of weather. I lived in the north for a while, and I had to come back down here because I need at least 90 or above during the summer. But
what's 19 normal people numbers? 1 second.
I have been in Vegas
like
where it was
120 something.
Yeah, I have been driving through the desert where my phone shut off one time. That's how I knew iPhones have a limit. I had no idea.
Dude, when we were driving to live in Las Vegas, we drove through Hell's Valley or whatever the fuck that thing is called.
Devil's Punch Bowl?
It's like that desert extent, that where you just desert for fucking a couple of miles.
Let me tell you, there's a place in Arizona, I'm pretty sure it was Arizona, that you get into, come out of a city or something or some area, and you will stare at the same mountain for about 16 fucking hours in a tractor trailer. And that's going 70 miles an hour what our truck was maxed out. And we stared at that. I drove a whole shift. We switched, and then he drove the rest of the way, and we finally got to the mountain. And you could drive for 12 hours.
The worst thing about driving through what I was talking about was our air conditioning in the car was broken. We had our windows down, and it felt like a fucking hairdryer was blowing on us.
Death Valley is in California. You know what's really funny? Hey, Randolph, the same thing happened to me when I was coming back from Mesa, Arizona, back to California one time. I had a Montero, and I had to turn my air conditioner off because it wasn't doing anything except for destroying my car. And same thing. I got so brown, my arm turned purple.
Ooh.
Oh, dude, I actually had to go to the hospital because of fucking heat stroke when we got to Vegas.
Oh yeah, it's
Like,
real.
it was that bad for me.
Hey,
Hi,
Randolph.
Randolph.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we went
Howdy.
from talking about hot sex to hot. Now we're just talking about hot.
Oh, I missed the good part.
And
No, we're
whoever-
good.
I want to know. I want to know what this hot is you speak of. Do temperatures above 17 Celsius exist?
Yes.
So-
Not where you live, buddy.
So I won't talk about fixing my drill at the risk of bringing us back to the old conversation then.
Oh, you could make that into a sex machine if you wanted to.
Yeah, I know there's some videos.
I think the
on
hammer
internet
drills
about
work
that.
better.
Yeah, I have
You know
to.
what's-
The cord has a problem. I have to fix it again.
Oh.
oh, those are always fun.
Hey,
Oh,
did you
that-
cut through it with a saw?
No. I lent it to somebody, and it came back with a hole in the cord, and then later it sparked, and okay, I need to fix that. So this was a temporary fix, but I'm gonna have to fix it again.
That is
You're gonna have to
literally
fix it. Yeah.
that is literally why I do not let people borrow my tools. I let one person borrow my tools because they return my tools. But
Yeah, there's
that's
a few
why.
people. A few of my
Wow.
friends I'll lend them to. Most people, it's a nope. Hello, theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you,
what Theo's doing
so
with
I,
the name. That's hilarious.
That's a
The
good
concept of driving 8 hours for me is driving to the bottom of the country. I live in the north.
yeah, because that's how big it is, right?
Eight
Yeah, see,
hours.
literally.
Here,
I
if you go
can-
from LA, where Will is, and go to New York City, you're looking at
Like
is that
16
2.5
days.
to 3 days?
Wow. Because
When I was a kid,
wow,
the
because
first
I
time-
can like
When I,
I
was
can
a
go
young
from
child, the first time I heard Down Under, I thought it was a reference to the USA.
no, I can go from like Manchester or even a bit further up than Manchester down to the very bottom of Cornwall in like 8 hours.
Dude, I remember when I took a fucking Greyhound bus trip from Las Vegas to Georgia. It took 4 days.
Oh yeah, on a Greyhound. Yes.
So as somebody who's a Greyhound veteran, you should get like a badge of honor for riding the Greyhound and surviving. They're
Dude, I
rough.
Bro,
I went
I
from
had-
North
dude, I had-
Carolina. I went from North Carolina to go to Arkansas, and they took us all the way up into oh god, like the top of Virginia or something, and then we went west, and then they went back down too far, and then went over and came like we made this big like this thing to get to where we were. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, they go out
Dude,
because they want to pick up as many people.
I'm
as
not
possible.
even.
Yep.
I'm not even kidding. We had 3 people get arrested.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Fucking 2 meth overdoses,
Yep. Like I said,
and somebody had a fucking seizure.
so on one of the most lit Greyhound bus rides I ever took, this guy, I watched him because I was like towards the back in the middle. Because when I get on the Greyhound, I come lit, and I give everyone that look like, "Don't sit next to me, don't sit next to me." And I watched this guy. He was stealing everything and putting it like in a he ripped his seat open and he was putting stuff in it. So by the time, and I was heading to Phoenix to go see my cousin.
Right.
So by the time that we get to San Bernardino County, which is out in the middle of nowhere, like we're basically already in Arizona, but San Bernardino County's huge. Long story short, the bus pulls over and there's a ton of cops. And the bus driver gets out and he's like, "All right, so who's stealing all this stuff?" Everyone turns and looks at me, and I'm like, "You can search me first," because I already knew the guy was gonna get. I was the first one off the bus, and I had just at the time I had a brand new Coolpix Nikon camera. This guy he ran. And keep in mind, we're out in the middle of nowhere. He ran past 3 fat A cops, and I'm not scared to say these were out of shape. He did this like O.J. Simpson move, ran past all of them. They made us wait until they arrested this fool. Almost 4 hours. He was hiding under a railroad. because you're out in the middle of nowhere. The whole town, there were like 6 houses in the whole town. It's like
Hey, Will, he had a choice between a cow and a railroad. He picked the railroad. That's pretty smart.
Oh, by the time, and I have they had a chopper out because we're out in the middle of nowhere, and the cops were like, this one cop looked at the other cop. He's like, "How the f did you lose this guy?" Because we're in the desert. We're in the you could seriously look around and you could see you could see flat in a complete circle.
He had a Wile E. Coyote costume and Acme gear. That's how he did it.
If they struck a deal, they could have struck a deal with you guys to help them search. At least you wouldn't have been so bored.
Oh no, they didn't want to come near us because after about 45 minutes, we all started getting real rowdy.
Dude,
why not?
What really sucks? What people that think that a baby crying on an airplane sucks, try having a fucking night and a half of a baby crying on a goddamn Greyhound.
With recycled air. Don't sit
I'm going to tell you, the next time I decide to go land somewhere far and I'm not driving, I'll go on a fucking train. Trains are better. Because you can get up and move around and go back to the food car and get some coffee.
And the scenery's better too.
Yeah, the scenery's better. And, I met I came up from, it's a funny story. I came up from Florida to Virginia. And I had lost everything, and my roommates had cleaned me out and stole my money. I didn't have shit. So my sister pays for a Greyhound, a train ticket. She was like, Greyhound or train. I was like, oh, let's do train. Fuck Greyhound. So I took a train from Orlando, Florida to Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I met this older biker couple. And you could tell they were out of money and they're moving and they got all their shit with them. They just have a few bags full of stuff. And so I got up in the middle of the night and went into the dining car, got a cup of coffee, and I sat down and I was just sitting there by myself and they came in and sat down. They were like, hey, you want to join us? And I was like, sure. So we sat there and talked for a while. They were just the coolest, just awesome people. And they were like, hey, do you smoke pot? And I was like, yeah, doesn't everybody? And they were like, come on. So they took me in between the cars and we closed the doors. And we stood there and it was 3:00 in the morning. And we sat there and smoked a joint and shit. And he was like, keep the rest of that. Oh, here. And he puts some in a baggie and he's like, here. That way you can smoke when you get there. And I was like, oh, man, you rock. Because I didn't know anybody where I was going. My sister's like a Baptist, Methodist, Christian. I'm not getting pot off anybody, So then after I moved there, after I got there, I used to go out in the back. She'd leave for work, and I'd go out in the back and by the shed, go behind the shed in between the fence and the shed and smoke a little bit of pot. And then she'd come back with the kids or whatever. I'm like, what's up? I was totally chill for I don't know, lasted for a month.
I've been there. I love people like that.
But they were just man, I wish I would have got their name and phone number. They were the coolest fucking people, man.
Do you know it's people like that always helps me out along the way. I always appreciate people like that.
The funny thing, Will, is I always run into nice people. And then I realized for years when I needed shit, I ran into nice people and people helped me all the time. I was working at a Subway restaurant. And I lost my place to live because I was renting off this woman and we were friends and she just got drunk and blew up on me. And I just threw all my shit in a trash bag and went to work 6 hours, 7 hours early and sat behind it, waited. And my boss pulls up and I'm sitting there with bags of shit and she unlocks the door and I carry all my stuff in. She's like, what's going on? She let me stay at her place for a month. I got room, sleep on the couch in the spare or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I've always ran into people. So the cool thing is since I've been in a place to help people, I always run into some kid who needs help. It's always a guy. It's always some dude. He's always 15 to 20 years younger than me, usually in that age range. And just needs somebody to just give him a little, boost. Not monetary, just help with stuff. And everywhere I've lived in the last 15 to 20 years, I have helped some kid. And I didn't even realize it until 2 years ago.
My sponsor and I became best of fucking friends. Because I had known him, I knew him in high school and we were cool. We were friendly. And then when I started going to meetings and shit, I saw him there. and we started talking. Like, we became fucking friends quick. And dude, I missed the shit out of him. Like, because he, like, anytime I was like going through something rough, he'd fucking come pick me up at like 2 o'clock in the fucking morning and go get like White Castles or some shit.
Right.
And we would just talk. Like, I feel like a lot of people do that nowadays. It's just the assholes that overshadow them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, because I was in my 20s, I struggled a lot, and I was homeless. I was what they call habitually homeless.
Wow.
You know, where you're off and on, you know. But along the way, there were a lot of people who went out of their way to help me, and I wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah.
You know?
I hear you, man.
And a lot, actually, most of them were atheists. You know, so there's a myth
I'm not
that
surprised. I'm just
there's
glad
a-
to hear it. It's a nice change of pace because quite often there's so many stories told of theists helping others, and that's it. So this is good. You know, I'd suggest make a blog online, write about these different experiences you had. Why not?
I actually
because people need to understand that just because you don't believe in God does not mean automatically make you an
Well,
immoral asshole. It doesn't work like that.
You guys gotta remember, we're the son of Satan because we don't believe in Jesus. We're all sons and daughters of Satan.
You know what, though? I will say, though, as the cliche goes, there were Christians that did help me out, though.
Yep.
You know,
it boils down to the individual people, whether they're the type of people who want to help.
Exactly.
This doesn't, Christianity or other religions don't make people want to help more. It's just that's the way these people are. Because there's bad people who get into religion as well, right?
Very much so.
It's
Very
all
Right, dude, my sponsor was Buddhist. Like, real shit.
That's probably a lot better than most ways you could go. Randolph, I saw you have to
Like-
leave, buddy. Thank you for coming in. If you want to come back and we're still going, you're always welcome to.
It's great. See you, Randolph.
Take care, Randolph.
Later, Richard.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
I mean,
Yo,
I can kind
dude.
of very definitively say that there are two people who I like definitely wouldn't be here without them, like literally. And it's been an atheist and a pagan. And
Good
in fact, actually, one of them was in the chat earlier.
Oh, Maya or the other,
Mia.
what's the other one? Mia,
Mia.
or okay, there was another person in there too, but Mia, I noticed you guys were talking back and forth.
Well,
Yes.
you guys, like, be you and Sam and Junk Shop and all of the other guys are the reason why I'm out of my shell more now. Like, I've conquered the fear of, you know, being with people online, and now I'm slowly working on it with being in public.
Good.
Yeah, that's
man.
that's a really useful thing to be able to work on in kind of an environment where you know people aren't going to give you too much shit over it. Like, I'd be lying if I said I'd be lying if I said I'm never going to give you any shit over it, because I'm British.
Oh, I know you will.
But
They're
No,
only
like-
polite to a point, and then they're sarcastic. That's
Yeah.
British. Yeah.
You know, and a good example, right, is so the other day I had to call my biological father, and for all those that know me well, know that me and my father had a huge falling out, and
Right.
you know, I wasn't able to talk to my brother and sister for a while. Well, I had called him the other day, and he's now trying to be somewhat civil with me, and he is letting me talk to my little brother. And you know, I almost didn't do it, and a friend of mine that I met through this community, it was just like, dude, even if your dad says something, just ignore it because you want to talk to your brother. And like, that helped so fucking much because I was terrified.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, see, I was lucky Math
then,
Pig
like,
popped my cherry with a whole bunch of freaking crazy atheists. So I, like, after that, I
And then-
wasn't scared about being online anymore.
Godless
see,
granny.
I was broken in nice and
Oh,
easy
really?
to the whole interacting with you lot. But my first stream was with Neil.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
See,
My second was with
my-
Godless Granny.
Who'd you do the first one with?
my
Will?
spot.
Santy the Sane.
Really?
Yeah, you should go. It's
I
on
never-
his channel.
I never catch any of his shit, honestly.
It's the most viewed video on his channel.
I'm gonna have to go see if I'm still subscribed to him or whatever.
I was shaky like a bird. You guys should go back and watch it and make fun of me. I was all nervous. I was sitting up straight and all proper. You know, that was like 25, almost 30 pounds ago.
See, I don't know him that well, but one of the people that gained my respect really, really fucking quick was Speed of Sound. He is a dope dude.
That's awesome.
Speed of Sound. Yeah. I've seen that name. Yes. Absolutely.
Like,
I'm trying to find it.
and
Will, I don't see it.
I finally feel
It's up there. It's my it's on his channel. It's my it's my Twitter. Back then I didn't have any technology, so I just said take my Twitter picture, and he did. So it's the I didn't know what I was doing, you know.
Yeah. Just take my Twitter picture. I don't know what I'm doing.
I had no idea. And like I look back and I laugh. Like I look at myself like, oh, that really was 25, 30 pounds ago. Wow.
Well, here, everybody. There's a link to Santi the Sane's channel if you want to check it out.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you guys want to know what the top 5 videos on my channel, in my opinion, are?
The top 5. I have no idea. I don't even know the top 5 on mine, buddy.
Top 5 for me was the stream I did with MathPig where I was interviewing him and Dave and Manda came on. Number 2 is Junk Shop. Number 3 is Sam. You and Ox are number 4, and number 5 was the stream where I came back after my cousin died because everybody was willing to fucking help me out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Like,
you know, I tell people all the time, I have met more sweet, kind, caring, giving people in the atheist community on YouTube and Twitter, which basically it's all the same people. We all know that. Than I have out in any kind of Christian area, society, whatever part of my life. So it's just true.
Dude, it's weird. The reason these are my favorites is because these are the ones that brought me out of my shell.
Yeah.
Like, really, because, you know, the one with MathPig, there were so many goddamn technical difficulties. And it was still a lot of fun. And then me and Sam had the ADHD off in our fucking
Yeah, pretty much. If there's a rabbit hole, you fall down it.
I will say an honorable mention is the ones where I have Sam and fucking Bad Temper Badger in there. Because we were just total nerds for like a good 2 hours.
That's great. Badger's great. Yeah. He's fun as hell.
Badger is fun. Hey, Badger, is Disney canon?
Yeah. No. He'll like growl at you and shit.
One of my favorite.
I know.
One of my favorite memories on Dave's stream is the one whenever Badger and I were in there together, and he changes his fucking avatar to Steve McRae, because Dave's question was, which is more of an atheist, can of soup or a rock? And that shit just killed me.
I saw that one.
Like,
that's great.
Me and Jeff couldn't stop laughing for like 3 minutes straight.
That was a fun episode of Critical Questions.
Oh yeah,
I miss doing that with Dave, but he streams on the day that I have to work. There's only 3 days a week that I can't flex at all, and he streams on one of them. So I am going to try to change my day of the week for that to like maybe a Wednesday or something. So I could try to be on there. So, I mean, I have some flexibility, honestly, with my job. The 2 days, Tuesdays and Fridays, I can move around if I wanted to. Saturday is non-negotiable. But
I have days like that too. Like my Saturday mornings are spoken for as well.
Yeah.
Forever.
my only day of the week that I concretely actually have anything on is Tuesdays.
Okay. Yeah, see, I didn't tell you guys. I talked to my boss and said, I wouldn't quit this part-time job if you guys just gave me full-time and made me a supervisor. And the guy was like, my boss was like, oh, really? And I said, yeah, I mean, I like the company. I like working with you guys. Just, when the new place opens, move Joe, who's my supervisor, the main maintenance guy, move him over to that new building because it's bigger and he has more experience, and leave me here and give me a bitch like I am to him, and we'll be good. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, and it would be a $2 or $3 an hour raise too.
Oh heck yeah!
That's actually pretty
That's the
good.
important. That's the important
nice.
part.
Yes, it's very important. Well, plus and full
One of my-
time, and I don't have any benefits right now,
So-
and it sucks, man.
It's the don't get hurt
What-
thing, when
Oh,
you don't
I've gotten
have-
hurt a lot. I
Yeah.
smashed my
One of my
hand at work,
favorite-
and I was afraid to say anything because I
Yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
well. Oh well. I mean,
One
I
of
have
my-
some fake stuff as a backup, but I don't want to use it because
One of
I
my
got some out of the same batch, and I've already used one, and I know it passed, so I know it's good stuff. So I'm trying to save it.
Oh, I know exactly. That's like when every time I go to the doctor, and there's this one doctor who's always asking me, "Is this work related? Is this work related?" I finally had to tell him, I can't sue myself. So stop trying to charge my job.
Right.
Stop trying to charge my job, idiot.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh dear.
But they make massive amounts of
dude,
money off
one
of
of my
workman
favorite
comp
things
cases.
about my
Oh yeah.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Q.
one of my favorite parts that one of my favorite parts of the job that I'd had in Las Vegas was like I worked for the entire building pretty much, and like all of the restaurants fucking loved me because I was the quickest person to bring them plates and silverware and shit, and I actually got a pay raise to just do that from now on, just go to different restaurants and give them shit that they need because I was
Oh.
really quick at it.
Hey,
Good.
Carl, Carl's Jr. sent me to Reno, Oregon, to a bunch of Hardee's on the East Coast. Like they were one of the reasons I could afford to travel in my 20s. I worked for Carl's
Really?
Jr. I have this problem of always being on time. I hate being late, so I'm always on
Right.
time. I'm one of those people, like, I realized I didn't like being poor, so I worked really hard and I got rewarded for it. And they would send me to go help out struggling stores. And because I'm not scared to talk to people, I would always be the guy like, oh, hell, welcome to blah, blah, blah. Come on in,
Right. Right.
And so that really helped me out with the job, But if you work hard, certain company, I'm not a corporate shill. I think that corporation is crap because they didn't give a shit about me after.
None of them ever do, honey. People that are loyal to jobs, I hate to say it, and I'm trying to be an asshole. You're stupid because no big company is loyal to you.
I gave
Mom and pop places will be.
Oh yeah.
Small corporations, they will be. They will try to keep you if you're a good employee because they know damn well they need you.
Yep.
But the big guys, they know there's some other asshole right around the corner with an application in his hand. They don't fucking care.
And like the older you get, like I gave them my 20s, and I swear they wanted someone in their 20s because the older I get, the more money I wanted.
Well, yeah.
So they keep on hiring new young bucks. The thing. Oh, I'm making a lot of money when you're relatively speaking, you are, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're just making a $2 or $3 more than everybody else.
Yeah, but compared to the guy they fired to hire you, you're making 6 to 8 less.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Exactly.
Well, I gotta dip out, guys. It was fun being here, B. Thank you for letting me on.
Thanks, Q. Thanks for coming, buddy. Take care.
Nice time with you, mate.
No
Take care.
problem.
Great
Peace out,
talking
guys.
to
Have
you.
a good one.
Later
You too,
on.
honey. Oh, goodness.
Oh dear. B, have I told you how much my granddad paid me as a trainee
No.
when I did some work with him?
No.
So it was £13 an hour, which if I equate that to dollars a second, let me Google.
I don't know.
So that equates. So as a trainee at 15 years old, I was on 17.80 an hour in terms of dollars.
Whoa.
Dude,
because
that's great pay.
my
Anywhere in the
the
US,
thing
that's
is,
good
though,
pay.
the thing is though that my I only did a few of these, but because my granddad got cancer, and so I had to give up the company. But basically, on the occasional weekend, he'd be like, "Hey, I've got this rail replacement job. Do you want to come and be my trainee? And you can kind of learn the ropes." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then he paid me per hour I was away from home, and he was taking me away for the weekend.
Whoa.
Shit, that's great. See, I've never had anything like that happen to me where somebody
But
just helped me out and gave me too much money, or I mean, I've always gotten paid at the bottom of what I deserve. You know, the residents where I work go up to my boss and say, "You should give B a raise."
I love that.
Really? That's
oh yeah,
really
he works hard. You should give B a raise. And one of them told him, "You should keep B here and send Joe over to the other place. We want to keep B here."
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. And the owners love me and find me more competent than my boss. Sorry, dude. But it's true. Like, because I know some shit.
When you're personable, though, when you're personable, people hate you. So that's a good thing. I hate to get like old school, but when you outshine your boss, like
that's how you lose your job.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had it happen.
Me too, because I speak Spanish and English, so I've outshined a lot of people, and a lot of people hate on they. You know, they'll do anything to get you out of there.
Oh dear. Now, I should probably clarify that my granddad was not paying me out of pocket. He was charging my wages on as a fee to the company that he was doing work for.
Yeah, but still, he still made sure you had a good paycheck. That's all that matters.
Oh yeah, and like that, my first tip was 2 Bud Lights.
I knew someone who invented what's called the snore stop. Now it's a mouth guard.
Oh yeah, so, I know that. I know what that is.
I worked at the factory who basically I know the guy who invented it. And one summer, his grandson and I worked there. This man paid us so much money. I look back and I'm like, I was so stupid to spend all that money, but he paid us as you would an adult, and we were just dumb kids. We had a great summer. You know, we would go to the mall and act like we were rappers, idiots, you know, spending a bunch of money because we were both from an upper middle class area, but we had never had that much money in our pockets. Neither one of us, because we had frugal parents, you know.
Right. And that's what I told you. It's not that you think, hey, I'm going to go waste this. You're just like, oh my God, I've never had extra money. What is extra money?
And you
have extra money, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to be careful with it. I'll just buy this one thing. Oh, you know what I really need? I really, really want one of these. I'm just going to buy that one thing. And next thing you know, you've bought 500 things and you're broke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is why I think I learned very young the importance of budgeting, because my mum's deal was like, she'll buy us treats and stuff, but then we get pocket money and she won't be buying us stuff besides giving us pocket money and then treats. So I learned to budget from a fairly young age, and I've budgeted fairly well, but I have expenses at the moment, and I don't currently have an income. I'm working on that.
Budgeting is important. Budgeting is extremely important.
Yeah, and like, granted, I did go out and spend like £400, which equates to about $500 on clothes shopping. It might have been May time last year.
Right.
Because I'd just come out as non-binary, and my best friend was like, "Fuck it, you need a new wardrobe."
Did you buy a bunch of leather? Go ahead. I'm just a snarky old guy.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're right, though. You're right.
No,
what was I going to say? Oh, the key that I've found, and this is good advice for anybody who's horrible with finances, is I years ago slowly build up to where I was paying all my stuff early. And I started doing this years ago, and I've done it ever since. And so I always, now sometimes I'll have the money in my account and I just hold on to it because I'm like, just in case something happens before my next paycheck.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes, but I always try to pay everything 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. And then if you stay 3 weeks ahead, 1 month is really hard to do. So you might not be able to do that. So I suggest 3 weeks ahead. And if you're 3 weeks ahead, you have that 3 weeks plus another week where they'll just charge you a late fee if you can't pay your shit.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry. All worries are gone. That's all you have to do. Just get 3 weeks ahead and you'll be good.
See, I think my perspective on certain financial things is slightly skewed by the fact that I learned financial shit from business people and people who had starting points. So, like, growing up, I was always taught that as an adult, you want to try and have 2 to 3 months worth of rent already stored away just in case.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's really hard to do when you're on a fixed income.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
Oh, absolutely. And like my current overheads are relatively low, so I think I have like 7 or 8 months stored away. That I can still go before I'm going to be like, I need to like have like an additional birthday or something.
Hey, Harmonica man. No, I learned the story about the grasshopper and the ant the hard way.
This is smart.
So I saved my money. And you know what? The one thing that always kept me above board was I always had side hustles. I always had like a side job or, you know, something that I was doing. And I'm not so pride-filled that I won't go scrub a toilet if I have to. If you pay me enough, I'll go do it. That's the key.
See, I learned a phrase, and I don't tend to use it, but I learned a phrase from someone who I did a thing with in high school. Everyone has a price for everything.
Oh, that's a fact.
Oh, everybody does have a price. If they say they don't, they're lying.
Yeah, no, because like people said, like, I think it was on Critical Questions. They said something about sucking dick for like $1 million or something like that. Or maybe it was like 10,000 or something. And I was like, fuck no. And they were like, okay, 50. And I was like, fuck no. And they said $1 million. And I said, hold on, let me think about this. Because let's be honest, you know, dick in the mouth for 2 minutes or $1 million.
Yeah,
like
that's
even for a staunch lesbian, that's pretty fucking tempting, man.
I mean, the things where it's like, would you punch your best friend in the face for $1 million? I'm like, yes, and then they get half as compensation.
Yeah, somebody said to me, would you like punch somebody in your family? I think that was one of the Critical Questions too. Would you punch somebody in your family for so much money? And I was like, yeah, my one brother I disowned. I don't give a fuck about that dude. I would totally beat the shit. I would love to beat the shit out of him. If somebody would pay me to do it and it was like legal where you couldn't get me arrested, I'd be on that shit.
Oh, I'd have a Royal Rumble with my family.
Give me the money, baby. Yeah, give me the money.
Put me in a cage with me and about 6 of my cousins. We all hate each other. we'll do a full cage match.
It'll be like Fight Club, but people will talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, it'll be Grudge Club.
It'll be Grudge Club. Hi, Randy.
Howdy ho.
How you doing, buddy?
Just coming down off a pretty awesome high. Came out of the hospital today, sideways. It was great.
Huh. Okay.
Right, this is great. I
just happen to have $1 million, V. Oh, the condition, Tubian, was that I got the money up front and like is sitting right here with me.
Absolutely.
That's the condition, just so you know.
Yeah. See, I know I'm going to get a decent high tonight because, well, hypothetically, if I lived in Canada, I would have half a joint sat over there from last night.
Right. Someone, what is this? Never. If someone pay me, I couldn't be arrested. Give me a shot at the remaining ones. I swear, 1 punch each is all it would take. Right.
So we're back to the purge. I would do it too.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We all have a price. We do. We have a price where we're going to go, that's a lot of money, and I really need some money because life sucks and capitalism sucks. So yeah, I mean, we all have a point that we give.
Oh, I'm from LA.
Yeah.
You give me a legible contract and guaranteed money.
See, I think the thing with me is that
Game on.
Yep.
so long as I have sufficient money to take care of myself, past a certain point, I don't really give a shit about money, but there are other things that I could be bought with. I'm aware of it.
So having been living in a 1983 VW Rabbit, money counts. Money counts. Money helps. Money helps.
I will money is important.
Yep.
I think up to a point, but past that point, you would have to buy me with other things because I value money as a tool to get what I want or need, and that's it. Because I know a lot of people who value money for money's sake, and I just don't get it. Money is a social construct and a tool.
No,
yeah, that is exactly why. Honestly, that's exactly how I feel about it. People love money. I don't love money. I think it's evil and fucking vicious, and it sucks. And we should go back to trading with one another because people would get off their ass and fucking work because they'd have to, and things would be easier. There wouldn't be that big price tag, on everything. But that's just the way it is, and I need it. I need it for right now. I need it to survive. So that's just the way it is.
It is a necessary evil. It definitely
Thank
is.
you. That's what I usually call it. Thank you.
It's like those people who see socialists and go, and yet you live in a society. It's like A, that's anarchy. B, yes, we're trying to survive here.
Awesome. They have amazing pot in Oregon. Amazing.
What is this? You're in a room with 10,000 people. One person's name gets drawn, yours, and you have the opportunity to push a button and get $1 million. But one person in the room dies instantly. Do you? Oh, no, I couldn't do that.
No,
I can't make somebody die. Nope. I'd beat somebody up. I'd suck some cock, but I'm not going to kill anybody.
I'd hospitalize.
I got to live with myself at the end of the day. Nope, not worth it.
I would hospitalize someone for a couple of months for $1 billion, maybe. But I could then easily pay their hospital bills. No.
You can pay their medical bills and give them $5 million or something on top of it, or 500 million, right? If they're, but it's like Maya said earlier, the key is consent.
Yep.
Yeah, I was about to say. So this is less evil because I'm not sitting in front of my my flag setup over there. Who is the person that could possibly die? It depends on who.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, but he just said a room full. Do we know the people? Can we pick?
Because if I can pick, I'm gonna
pick that one room. Dude that when we were all walking in, he knocked me over or didn't hold the door. I'll pick that asshole. Right. Yeah.
Or the guy who goes slow in the fast lane on the freeway.
Ooh, good point. I will kill pedophiles for free.
There you go. You see, if someone's a chomo, I'd have no problem often. I'd hit the button over and over and over.
If I don't go to prison. Yeah, I know. I have that condition too, sir.
Yeah, this is, fair. Oh, dear.
Ox. Oh my god, dude, you're killing me. Oh, see, now all the truth's coming out. Bias about the Trump administration. I'd kill him.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'll do it for considerably less.
Who are these people?
Yeah. If it's people who've showed up to I shouldn't say that word on YouTube. Those people from Germany in the 40s?
Oh, yes. Those people.
Yes. If you had 10,000 of those people in a room, I'm not sure I'd mind quite as much.
Ox. I tried to get a job as a hangman for the state, but they said I was too into it. Yeah, man, I want to kill people. No, honestly, though, I can't. I've literally had people punch me in the face, punch me in the neck, and I go, motherfucker, get away from me. Because I know two things. One, I know that I don't want to hurt anybody. And the second thing I know is I blacked out once when I was 15 and almost killed a girl. I'm not kidding. My brother pried my hands off her neck. And all I remember is coming out of it, and my hands are like this, and my brother's pulling my thumbs off, and I saw and heard her and felt her trachea pop back out. I almost killed her. So I don't fight anymore.
Yeah. See, I know I could. I know I could, in theory, be a killer, but I know I'd feel so awful afterwards. I could never be a serial killer.
Oh no, it would be a one-time gig.
Like
but that's the thing. You got to live with yourself at the end of the day. That's why I can't really hurt people, because I'm going to tell you, I beat myself up if I drop my keys in the parking lot because I'm so hard on myself. I could never. I would have to kill myself.
Yeah, but if someone's trying to kill you,
hard on.
Oh no! I didn't say self-defense. Someone's trying to kill me, I will fucking kill your ass.
Yeah,
no, self-defense is a different ballgame.
Because if you're coming to kill me, you better bring your A game. Is all I'm saying. Like, I will defend myself down to where if I'm just one foot kicking, you know. But I don't go. Even in the worst of who I've been in my life, I've never gone looking for a fight. I've never randomly walked up to people. I always mind my own business, you know. I habitually mind my own business.
I've pretty much either had fights brought to me or had someone make me go to them for the fight. Like, gave me so much shit, I was like, "That's it. We're stopping this now. I'm fucking nipping this."
Yeah, I've had guns pulled on me. I've been shot at more than once. You know, so there are certain times where you have to defend yourself because that person is dumb enough trying to kill you. You know,
fact, Ox. It is. It's really and I don't know how the fuck you know that I'm empathic, but I am. Oh, we were talking about that. That's right.
Yeah. I have very rarely been in fights, but usually doesn't particularly end with anyone severely hurt. I usually go, no knives, and we don't really have guns here, so that's
the problem.
And the thing is, for me, it's relatively low stakes compared to my grandparents, who I know have been shot at repeatedly because they were missionaries in India. And like, while I disapprove strongly of missionary
club.
Oh no, fuck that. That's sports. Not to be that guy, but I will play badminton.
I guess you're right. I don't like sports either, but
there are a few I'll play, but
that
I don't ever really
one.
participate.
Oh, you guys are both of you on a delay.
Sometimes I miss fighting.
Sorry, I'm reading there. They're trying to convince me to I'm one of the holdout parents, and I'm making everyone look bad because I won't let my kid go back to school until he gets vaccinated. And they're kind of rushing.
Tough shit.
They're rushing all the kids. They're like, they're doing this for political reasons, and my kid's not your political pawn, so we're just gonna hang out at home and be okay, And like every day they email like, "Are you sure?" I'm sure. I'm making a decision and I'm sticking to it. These people, I don't know. COVID has exposed the school system on how incompetent some people are. So I don't have any faith in the people who are in charge of my son's schooling.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I would do the same thing, especially if I had a child that has issues at all, because then they have more trouble communicating and more trouble understanding and my God, why would you want to put them through that, man?
Wow.
I don't blame you a bit. I'd protect them 100.
I have dropped the phrase "avoid it like the plague" from my vocabulary.
No, another thing, like they've discriminated against the special needs kids because they wouldn't let him go back to school. And I was like, good, because he wasn't going back anyways. But now it's all political crap. And it's just, you can posture with someone else's kid.
I honestly just think that most of the parents miss the babysitter, the free babysitter.
Oh, they can all kiss my
I
ass.
swear to God, that's what I think a lot of it is. Because if you have working parents and the kid's not in school, well, now you got to deal with the kid, and now you got to pay, or you got to find somebody, or you got to juggle it around and beg favors and whatever else if you can't afford it. And yeah, it's a bitch, but the TV and the video games and the school is not your fucking babysitter.
Exactly, and
The
that's
child's
another
health
thing.
is more important than all that shit.
And that's another thing is exposing all the people who aren't raising their kids. You know, I'm lucky because at my job, my kids carried under my insurance. So basically, because he has special needs, like he's insured, like I can take him to my job. You know. So
Yeah.
I'm more lucky than the average person. But even with that being said, like my kid's not your political pawn, you know. So there's
But I'm
no
going to tell
way.
you, honestly, by the time all of us kids were like 12 years old, my mom could have left us at home and said, do your fucking homework
Mhm.
and do your chores. And I want everything good when I get back. And we would have done it. We would have fucked off in the middle of it, but we would have ran around and got everything done because we could have fucked off.
I
And
did.
It would have been done when she got home.
I was a
Yep.
latchkey kid, and I had consequences and repercussions. So when my mom got home, my homework was done. You know, my bed was made, so she'd leave me alone. So she would
Yeah.
leave me alone.
And
You
my
know?
brother says that all the time. He says boys don't understand. Like boys want to rebel worse than girls at that pre-teenage. And he's like, it's stupid. All you do is, you know what they want you to do. They tell you every day. And he'll tell kids this. Just go do it. And then they leave you alone. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, oh, man, I didn't think about that. You know, because they're like 10 years old. They didn't, their
Yep.
process, 7 years old, the process hasn't gone that far.
I'm
But
extreme.
yeah.
I'm consistent, and so my son eventually got sick of my consistency and just started doing things without me prompting it, and it worked. And it's different because we're just two dudes living in the same house. The older he gets, so it's easier, you know. And he's kind of figured out that Dad's cool as long as I don't burn the house down or get the cops called.
Right.
Dad's
Right.
a cool guy.
Right. I mean, hell, by the time I was 12, I was like doing half the part of the cooking and doing all the dishes and doing all the blah, 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 blah. Me and my brothers were running the whole farm pretty
Yeah.
much.
Oh, yeah.
Mom did everything in the house.
Well,
So I knew
I
we
mean,
had to do
I-
everything. We had
Yeah.
to do.
oh yeah.
I was I didn't necessarily have to, but I was able to make dinner for myself and my two younger siblings at the time, and like go to the shop for stuff at like 8 years old.
Right.
And maybe that was because my mum had depression at the time, so I sort of had to learn or be fucked. But still.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's old school. Back in my day, that was like sink or swim. When I was a kid, I stupidly bought a stick shift car, and my dad was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "All right, I'm gonna teach you how to drive a stick shift." Takes me out to the local college. He gets out, throws the keys at me, and he's like, "All right, learn how to drive a stick." And he starts walking, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "By the time you figure it out, I'll be halfway home. So pick me up by the time you figure it out." Hey,
oh my
necessity.
God.
Let me tell you, I figured that shit out real quick. I did. I
Oh.
stumbled a bunch. I cut it out. But you know what? I figured it out, and I picked his butt up, and I drove home. You know, that's old
Yeah.
school. That's old
You
school.
know how I
Sink or
learned?
swim.
You know where I learned to drive stick?
Mm-hmm.
In a fucking hayfield.
Oh,
So
that's
we had an old beat up, because I don't know what states have this, but the state I grew up in had farm use vehicles. So we had an old beat up truck. It didn't have any license plates or anything. We just spray painted farm use on the side, and you could drive it wherever you wanted.
awesome.
So we had one of those. It was actually a Datsun, not a Nissan Datsun, not a Nissan. It was a Datsun pickup. It was bright orange. The floorboards were gone and rusted out in it. So we took down signs on the road. One was like a bus stop. No, not a bus stop sign. One was a cow crossing sign and something else. And we riveted it down to the floor. So every time you got in, you saw a big cow.
Oh, that's
You know?
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, a
awesome.
tractor crossing sign was on the other
That's pretty
side.
cool.
It didn't have any brakes
Yep.
in reverse because my one brother fucked it up really bad somehow. So I was like, "Mom, I wanted to learn how to drive." She's like, "I don't have time to teach you." I said, "No, my friend's gonna teach me." She said, "Well, go take the truck out in the field." It's all right, cool. So I go out in the field, and man, I'm telling you, I tore the shit up out of that field. I didn't say anything. Mom was like, "Are you good?" I said, "Yeah, we're going to take it up on the road." She's like, "All right, just don't go far. Be careful." So we took it up the dirt road, and, I was good. So then the season came to bale the hay, and we're all down in the field, and Mom's like, "Who in the hell," with her arms on her hips, 5'2" Italian lady, "who in the hell tore up my hay field? I lost 2 bales of hay." And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know what you're talking about right now." That's how I learned. That's how I learned to drive.
My mum made a mistake teaching me to ride a bike that she rectified the first time she let me get behind a wheel. When she was teaching me to ride a bike, she forgot to teach me how to brake.
Oh, that's very important.
Yikes.
And thankfully, that was when I was riding a bike and not when I first got behind the wheel of a car. Because when I first got behind the wheel of a car, I had to do an emergency stop after 6 seconds.
Yikes.
Because there was a random human that tried to step out.
Yikes. Your story reminded me of something, B. Right now, in my mom's house, there is a vase with super glue on it from over 30 years ago that I don't think she still hasn't noticed, or she just likes us and never said anything. I have many brothers and sisters, and I'm surprised no one has snitched about that. And I know she doesn't watch this, so. But every time I go in the house, I look at it. I walk past it, and I'm like, man, that thing's older than some people's kids, and it's still so super glue, and that's old school super glue from 30 years ago when it smelled bad and it was toxic.
Yeah. Hey, I had to cut my fingers apart because of that super glue.
Oh,
I literally glued my fingers together, and I had to take a X-Acto knife and cut my fingers. It was the thinnest blade I could find in the house, and cut my fingers apart. And my fingers bled like a bitch. I couldn't cut but I was just stuck that. Like, what do you do with this?
Oh yeah, super glue is no joke. Super glue, the old school stuff. You could torture somebody with the old school stuff.
Dave, take your '82 orange Datsun and make it into a little 2-door pickup truck with the little anchors on the side rails and Datsun written on the back, and that's exactly what we had.
Hey B, check backstage.
Oh, I don't even have that on my screen. I have it shoved all the way over.
Yeah, I learned off an old farm truck. It was a Ford, like a.
Why don't you just tell me Randolph's
68
back?
or something like that.
Thanks, Sam. I just got here. It's okay. It's good timing. I learned to drive in the snow. The snow was that year was probably about 30 centimeters. So 1 foot. So that's it's 1 to 2 feet deep. So about 30 to 60 centimeters deep. And it was a fantastic way to learn how to drive because I learned on stick shift as well. And then after I got my license, I was in a company van, which is a major move up from an old car. And it's a lot more stable in the snow. But summertime was a piece of cake after that.
Well, what my mom did was each one of us, she took us up to this, there was a department store. It was kind of like a Kmart. And there was a Hills and there was a Hex. I don't know if everybody remembers those. But the Hills parking lot only had like 3 lampposts going right down the middle. Okay. A little bit closer towards the building, actually, from the edge. And it was up on top of this is what's crazy about it. It was on top of this fucking hill. So 2/3 of the parking lot, or half of the parking lot was hill. With nothing all the way down to the main road for like 60 feet. And then there was the building, and then there was the exit. So she'd take us up there, and she'd go, okay, I'm going to teach you how to drive in the snow. You ready? Yep. Okay. Go ahead. Go faster. Go faster. Go faster. Okay, now hit the brakes and control it. And she'd just do this and like wait to see if she had to grab the wheel. And that's what she did with us. And there was no curbs or anything in the parking lot. It was a big open. She'd wait until there was a bunch of like really nasty, icy, snowy shit going on. And we'd drive 35 minutes from the farm up there in that shit. She would drive. And then she'd teach us how to drive. And then she'd let us drive the little roads back towards the highway. And then we'd switch and then she'd drive home. But I'm telling you, by the time she was done with us, I've avoided a lot of nasty wrecks in my life from my mom teaching me how to drive.
Yeah,
taught
and you know,
every- She
I
taught
think
all
rough-
6 of us kids, and
Yeah,
we all became good drivers.
I think rough and unpredictable conditions are important to learn in. Not when you're a beginner, but before your lessons are complete.
Well, yeah, once you learn in that, everything else
Right.
is easy, man.
When I eventually actually learned to drive, because I really struggle to learn reflexive things because neurodiversity, and so it's taken me a while to learn. So then COVID happened, so I guess I'm back to square one. So I want to try and get a bit out in the snow, but I also want to try and get a bit out in the mountain roads up in Scotland. Because frankly, if I can drive on those, I can drive on most roads fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I noticed, like in the cities in the UK, it seems that the roads are very thin compared to, say, here in Canada.
Yeah,
Really?
I've looked at
They
road
look thin, and the way
sizes in
people
the
drive
US and
around, they
Canada.
look like they're going a little too fast all the time.
Yeah, they really do. It's funny until you're stood on the pavement, and as they turn around the corner, they drive onto the pavement.
So
I've had someone drive past me doing like 60 or some shit, and missed me by a few inches because I just happened to have climbed up on a wall.
Wow.
Here in LA, our freeways have six or 7 lanes in certain areas because there's so many people here.
Yeah.
So it's it's like NASCAR.
I've driven there. It's fine, but you just got to be aware of what's going on around you.
I love it because when I go other places, like except for certain parts of Arizona where the speed limit's 85, everywhere else just seems really slow to me. Because in LA, the other day I was being impatient. I wasn't driving like a complete idiot, but I was driving like a local, and I see a cop come up behind me, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a ticket. The cop was using me as a wedge, and the second I got near traffic, the cop went around me and just kind of turned its sirens on because it was trying to go somewhere. They were trying to go somewhere. And they were like, hey, this guy's driving like an idiot. Let me get behind this dummy.
Oh, that's great. They just use you to get it through the traffic.
Oh yeah, because I didn't see him, and I was just kind of like weaving in and out, and I saw the car, and I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, dude. the most insane driving I have ever seen has been paramedics in 4x4s.
The big challenge between US and Canada is when you cross the border, you got to switch over from metric to imperial or vice versa. And fortunately, all the vehicles in Canada have both on the speedometer, but you still have to know which one you're looking at because
right.
We have
Yep.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, that's
exactly.
good.
We have both.
We work in miles here for like the roads and stuff, but
That's
I'm a
imperial.
physicist. I'm a physicist though, so I'm used to kilometers, and so like I can do both just by happenstance.
Seem to be breaking up, Sam.
Oh God damn it!
I couldn't hear most of what you said.
Is that any better?
I can
I'm
still hear
gonna
you.
cut out for the
I
night.
think it
I'll
was
listen
you,
in the
Randolph. I
background.
could hear fine.
Oh, really?
Good.
Okay.
Good
I'm on a
Randy.
wired connection. It shouldn't be me.
Good
Okay.
seeing
Hi,
you,
Randy. Thanks for
Take
stopping
care,
in, man.
Randy.
Good seeing you guys too. See.
Well, you sound good.
Yeah, you're fine. I think it was Randolph.
So all I'd said, Randolph, was that we do miles here, but I'm a physicist, so I'm used to kilometers.
Yeah. Now, I'm not talking distance. I'm talking speed, though. Is it you guys are doing miles per hour there, or
Yeah,
kilometers?
we do miles per hour, but I'm used to kilometers per hour because I'm used to doing physics calculations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Star Trek uses kilometers per hour as well, or kilometers per second.
Do you know in Mexico, the second you cross over, it's in kilometers. So to most Americans, they're like, "What?
Yeah.
Where am I?"
Oh, see, my favorite thing was watching my stepdad try and drive around Wales to get to where we was, because we went for a weekend away, me, my stepdad, and a few mates to play D&D in a little cottage in the middle of fuck off nowhere in the Welsh mountains. But of course, all the signs are just in Welsh.
Huh.
Wonderful.
I better get some cutting done before it's before the regulation time is up. So,
Well, just mute us. We'll just watch you for a bit.
oh yeah, you
right.
like to see what's going on.
I love your progress. It's actually really satisfying.
Yeah, it's cool to watch.
Well, yeah, I've actually got most of the south wall up.
Yeah, I see that.
In just a sec here.
It's
Nice.
awesome. It's satisfying to watch your progress, you know.
Simply, Dave said, "Kill O meters." He he he.
So what? So B, you
Yeah.
you've been in Southern Arizona, haven't you? Like between Phoenix and like Tucson.
I've been everywhere except for Hawaii and Alaska. Yes, I have been.
Their speed limit is one of the highest I've ever seen. Have you seen anything higher than that? It's like
I haven't been there in years. I don't know what the current speed limit is.
it's either 80 or 85.
There are actually a lot of highways that go up to 80 and 85 in certain states, in certain areas. Usually it's the places that have like nothing.
Exactly.
Like you'll drive through the nothing of Montana or whatever, but I can't remember all the states right now. But I think I've seen 185 mile per hour zone, and I was going south from Ohio to Florida. That's all I remember. I think it was Tennessee, North Carolina, Kentucky. One of the three.
Awesome.
My time's limited. I'll just tell you quickly, the framing is almost done. You can see this above the window is the header.
Right.
And then below that, I just have to put a few more support beams, vertical ones there. And then
You better, damn it. Got to have a strong sill, Randolph. No, I'm serious. You really
I
do.
know. No, that's
no, I
correct.
know you know. I was just being sorry a little bit.
No, you're correct. Though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's I still have a little more to do. I have a little bit more cutting I have to do to make sure I get all the pieces in that I need. Then I need to get a friend to help me put the window in to make sure it fits. It does. I've measured, but I want to make sure it does with an.
How big is that window? What's your rough opening?
I don't remember. Just a sec.
Say, if that's not very big, you could place that window yourself, you slacker. No, I'm kidding.
You probably want Imperial. So let's see.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell me metric could give you about 3 minutes. I'll figure it out, but I know roughly the difference.
59.5 by 35.5.
Okay.
Yeah, you need help. That's pretty heavy. That's awkward.
That's about 90 centimeters by 150 centimeters.
Right, so it's basically 5 foot by 3 foot and change. So yeah, you might want some help with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the big window I had on the side yesterday, so.
Oh, that was a window. We thought it was a door laying down. So yes, that's large. You might need help with that.
Our doors are bigger than that.
Well, most people's are, but from our camera angle, it looked like a 7 foot long door.
And the thing is,
it really did.
It's funny how the angles play tricks on you because it looks like things aren't level, but the window itself is level. The top is sloping upward and the ground slopes downward. So
right.
From that side to this side, it's sloping. So
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I just noticed.
Yeah, it'll drive you crazy if you're not aware, right? So it's just.
Well, he's tying into another roof too, so he has to keep that in consideration when he puts that roof on.
Exactly.
Make sure it drains off properly.
Oh yeah, well no, it's all one big roof, but yeah. Actually,
you're just adding to the roof.
This is what you're seeing here is our deck. So.
Right. That's the deck. Okay.
So
My
this
bad.
wall is parallel with the edge of the deck, so it goes right up to the edge of the deck there. So it's maximizing the space, of course. But it's just I better get cutting before it's 8 o'clock here.
Go ahead, honey.
Fair.
Thank you very much for your interest. What's that, Sam?
I'd probably best fuck off in a few minutes because otherwise it's going to be like 3 a.m. and I will not be. I'll still be sober at 3 a.m. and I'll have to wonder what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, I'm probably gonna get off here in a little bit because honestly, I haven't peed in like 3 hours. So I'm at my point of I've had enough coffee.
I know. I'm gonna go
the cat
binge.
says hi.
Hi.
Cat says hi. Yeah, paw. What's going on over there? Oh, I don't know. Okay, yeah. Anyways, to answer your question, I feel like the highest average is 75 that I've seen. That's the average. You'll get a handful of 80s, 85 like twice. I think it was North Carolina or South Carolina that it was 85 through there. And it
Because
wasn't for very long.
I drive fast, and so I appreciate a good fast speed limit. But
Yeah.
that's because when I've been to other states and like I literally cannot drive 55. I feel like I could get out and run faster than 55 miles an hour. But that's because I'm from Southern California and we drive like it's NASCAR.
Everybody's in a hurry to get. See, I don't like that shit. You know what's funny is I'm the kind of person I like to just. I'll go like 5 over the speed limit. Everybody can just cruise together. I want everybody to get along. It's so slow here where I live because my brother calls this the land of manana. And he's not kidding. Like everybody's like, yeah. I'll be there first thing in the morning to fix that. You know what the first thing in the morning is? Between 9 and 10 a.m. That's what I've learned.
Wow.
I grew up first thing in the morning's like 10 till 8. You better be there 10 till 8 or you're late, you know?
Yeah.
But no, 9 or 10, they wander in like, ugh. They work for like a half an hour, and they're like, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'll be back. I'm like, what the fuck? But they drive like that too, man. Like one day you'll be driving and there's like a bunch of maniacs and a couple slow people. And then like the next day, there's just everybody's just driving slow. Like, I like to drive slow and I get irritated. That's how slow it is.
It's nothing to see like headlights just screaming behind you and get over into the next lane and watch someone go past you at like 100 miles an hour.
Right.
I get passed at doing like 70. People will pass me. So LA's a crazy place. It's crazy here. And then it rains and no one knows what the hell they're doing. And people lose their damn mind.
Oh, see that description right there just reminds me of my partner who lives in Texas' explanation of any time they've seen rain or snow.
So
yes, Sarah. Yes.
That's so true. And you think you're going fast.
No, dude, I know I am, and I'm okay with it because I got to be careful.
No, I'm the same way. Like on certain days, because I've gotten quite a few speeding tickets, and I can't say it was ever a race. It's because I drive like an asshole. So it's not about my race. It's because I drive like an idiot in a big obvious truck, or I'm like in a Ford Flex where someone's like, "Hey, this one guy," I got pulled over by this cop, and he was like. He looked at me and he's like, good, I thought you were someone's grandma who lost their damn mind. And gave me a speeding ticket because I scared him.
Damn.
Simply Secular Dave is right. Our freeways are like pig snot when it rains. You can't do a full 360 if you hit your brakes.
Tell them to hey, you guys, go up to Donner's and then go down the Cabbage in the rain and snow and ice in a tractor trailer loaded. See ya. I'm telling you, I almost pissed my pants.
I was
a brand new driver, and the guy that was mentoring me, because you had to be with a mentor for a month out on the road, he took me down that shit on purpose to fuck with me. And I'm telling you, he was clenching his ass and chain smoking, going down Donner's 70 miles an hour with the flatbeds. And we had a van.
Oh, that's so scary. Oh,
dude, it was crazy. Like I was sitting there just like smoking, and I'd flick it out the window, and I'd grab another cigarette, and he'd go, light me one. I'm like, you're scaring yourself. What are you doing right now? You're such a dick that you are making yourself shit your own pants to try to scare me out of driving truck because I'm a woman. Didn't work either.
I got scared the first time I drove to Oregon by myself when I got out in the middle of nowhere, like Northern California. When you get in the pass too, it's scary. Don't look down.
Dude, it's true. I'm telling you, the Cabbage, you talking about the Cabbage or Donner's?
Both.
Yeah. The Cabbage, like, I'm telling you, the first time I came across it, the guy was driving, my co-driver was driving. And so I'm looking down over the edge, and I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, dude, I don't like that. And he went over in the left lane. And he stayed in the left lane till he got around the backside of that last set of mountains before you get to the bottom.
Oh yeah.
But right before he did that, I looked down there, and I'm not kidding you. I could do this through the window, and that's how big the tractor trailers were at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
They were 1.5 inches to 2 inches long.
Oh yeah.
I was like, dude, we got to wait long ways down. He's like, stop. This is stressful enough.
It's no joke. I drove it at night one
That's
time. I drove
scary.
it at day. I was like, I'm never driving this during the day again because you can see what you're doing, you know. At least at
See-
night you won't see yourself plummet.
See, people. I hear people talking about this, and it just reminds me of how people around here talk about Snake's Pass.
I know someone who lives in Bend.
Oh, that's such a good idea, Dave. How smart, man. Pull you out for $40. Who's gonna say no to that?
That's
That's
literally holding
amazing.
people. They're held hostage.
That's like really, that's putting a monopoly on it because I'm the only motherfucker here who's gonna pull you out. So do you want to come out and get out or not?
You know what? I have a
That's
big F-150.
crazy.
I might do that this year.
You should, dude. That's great. I don't have 4-wheel drive on mine because I was like, I'm not paying an extra $5,000. I'm going to the high desert. The most snow we've gotten so far that I've seen at once, it was accumulated over like 3 days, and we got up to like 6.5, 7 inches or 8 inches. Like, I'm not getting 4-wheel drive for that.
When I take my truck up to the snow, I don't even need chains because I have 4 low. But that's that's California snow. I'm not talking about, you know, Ohio or like, you know, we're going to
Minnesota snow.
Yeah. I'm going to Mountain High, you know, where people are snowboarding, you know.
You know, I remember driving when I was driving truck, I remember driving through past Asheville, North Carolina.
Mhm.
Well, you don't drive really past it. It's kind of north of the highway, I think, or something. So I drove I was driving through there and it had just like been a really bad snowstorm and they were just getting done cleaning the roads up and they were like resalting them, doing the final like scrape on them, you know? So I go down into by Asheville or whatever that fucking town is there. And you go down into like a valley and then you go back up the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, the snowplow had gone through and cleaned like 1.5 lanes off. So everybody was just staying in a straight line. And in the snowbank, where he pushed the snow, it was taller than where my eyes were in the tractor trailer. So I'm going to say 10 feet.
Oh, wow.
And it gets funnier. It gets worse. I'm driving along and there's a red car. All you could see is the driver's side door and the mirrors hanging. They had parked it and he didn't see it. And he just all the way down the side, just crunched it, man. And it was buried in the snow. It was just like it was like a little red dot. And I was like, what the fuck? That's a car, you know, like as I'm driving by.
I lived in a place called Sandy, Oregon, and it snowed one time like that when I lived there.
Dude, isn't that by Beaver? Is it Beaver?
It's like 10 miles from the base camp of Mount Hood.
Dude, I lived there for like 3 months.
2000, I lived there. You might know someone I know.
2006. I was there the summer of, wait a minute. Yeah, summer 2006 into the fall.
You and I lived in Oregon at the same time. I lived in Tigard at that time though.
That's crazy.
I lived off of Highway 99 in McDonald in Tigard at that time in 06.
I know. I actually, a buddy of mine took us. He wanted to take his kids up to Tigard. Isn't that the lake? Isn't there a lake?
Lake Oswego. Lake Oswego.
Yeah, and when I went with him, we went fishing and shit up there.
Oh, I had honestly I had a blast living out there. I did. I really did. I miss Oregon.
That's it. Beaverton.
I lived in Beaverton.
I knew it was some lesbian connotation in there somewhere. I just couldn't remember the name of it. Did you know in Pennsylvania, if you're coming from Pittsburgh going south towards West Virginia, there's a part of the highway, there's not much there. It kind of gets spaced out. And there's signs, next exit, Beaver, this way, Moon, this way. So I'm driving, I'm in the car coming from the Pittsburgh airport with my brother who's gay. And we're going along and we just both looked at the sign and both did this at the same time. I'm going that way. And we pointed opposite ways. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
We laughed for like 2 years about that shit. That was just
I miss Oregon, but it got crazy, and it's all things that I did to myself and I allowed other people to do to me. But Oregon got too crazy for me.
Hey, does anybody know a redhead named Hannah that's probably like 35 right now? Yeah, that's who I chased over there. I fucked her.
You know that literally is how every all my
Seriously,
stories from the
Tubian?
past are.
Tubian said, I live not far from Beaverton.
I worked at the Crappy Carl's Jr. in downtown Portland, Oregon, in the early 2000s. I was almost shot like 50 times. I got spit on. People threw unnamed substances and cups at me. People threw their food in my face. It was lit. That job was one of the craziest jobs I've ever had, and I now volunteer and help on the streets of downtown LA. And downtown Portland is more lit than LA is now.
You know what was cool about when I went there, though? I chased that chick there, right? Now, mind you, so she was 23, and I was like 37, 36, and I chased her over there. And, yeah, I mean, it was good for my ego, you know? Hot little redhead wanted me. I was like, all right, yeah, I could do that. So my brother got me a free plane ticket. I went to Oregon, screwed her for a few months, and left. But, yeah, dude, I met some really cool people there, and didn't matter where we were. We could go to a restaurant, we could go to a bar, hold hands. No one looked at us twice.
Yeah, Oregon was definitely like
that whole area was just so chilled, dude. Nobody cared. They didn't look at anybody funny. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh my God, nobody has given us a dirty look, made a comment, flipped us off, nothing." And she goes, "Oh, they don't do that here." I'm like, "But I'm used to Virginia. Like the edge of the Bible Belt. They do that there."
I went to a pride parade in the rain in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon is awesome. It's an awesome, awesome place.
I went up to Portland and they had one of those concerts, jazz. It was a jazz festival
in the park
there on the green.
Yeah,
that was so much fun. I got so drunk. We were there so long. I got drunk and then sobered up. And then I ate for like the third time, and then I drove home because I was sober. We were there for like all fuck day.
You and I were probably at the same place. I miss that place. I used to go every year.
Dude,
every year.
It was really fun. I don't remember half the music now, but
was it a beer tasting as well?
I don't remember, but there was alcohol and snacks and food everywhere, so I don't know.
I miss like Saturday market. Portland was fun. It was a great place to live.
Yeah. Tubian's from Cornelius, Oregon. I don't know where that is.
I know where that is.
Doesn't sound familiar. But I mean, like I said, I was only there for like 3 months, and then I ditched. I was like, "Yeah, what am I doing?" Yeah. I went back home.
I think I'm probably going to disappear in a second, given we've hit like 3 hours of streaming.
Good night.
Yeah, no, I'm really trying to get off of here, but now everybody's on the topic that I know about, i.e., not history.
I'll stop talking. I'll stop. I've been around. I've been road hard and put up wet, so I have nothing but road warrior stories.
No, dude, that's cool because now you're making me think. I met this guy in Oregon, Sam. Before I tell this story, Sam, I love you to death. Thank you for coming in, and have a good night. And
it's great
you're always welcome.
Excellent to chat to you guys. I will see you all around, and if nothing else, I'll see you on Tuesday.
Awesome.
Take care,
good, buddy.
Good night.
What were you gonna say, Randolph? Go.
Oh, well, this skill saw that I have is one of the modern ones that you can angle the blade. And because at an angle, I have to angle the cut slightly, so makes it real easy.
That's not bad. See, I wish I was there to help you. I'd have that half done or more. We'd be done already.
We'd be twice as fast.
We'd be done. We'd be done because my brother has taught me so much. And I had an ex-husband that was a framer and carpenter. And I was there for like 8.5 year. I know all kinds of shit.
I'd learn from you then because I'm learning as I go. I study before I do these things, but yeah.
But you know what? It looks great.
It's very satisfying.
Everything I've seen you do looks like spot on. So I can't say shit.
It's satisfying to someone who's what you're doing. Like I used to do for a living, and so as a total control freak, it's completely satisfying to see that you're doing it the proper way. Like I said, your progression is awesome because I've watched it from when all that whole wall wasn't up.
Yeah, we had some delays, so it has taken a while, but getting things going, and also certain major things like getting the west wall up. I wanted Neil to be here for that, so I delayed to accommodate his schedule too. It's not his fault.
Oh yeah,
It's supposed to do that.
no, yeah, absolutely.
Because it's one of the main purposes of this whole area is going to be for the True North Talk program, which he and I are co-hosts on. So I want him to be part of the important things that come up, because that's going to be really nice for him. I want to give him that feeling of nostalgia in the future.
Right, absolutely. And the important part about that, Randolph, is that I don't have a life and like family at home, kids. I have a job and a half. So I would be out there all the time working on it. You have shit to do. That's why it would be done so fast.
Yeah, some of it I've done when there's no live streams going. I always look for a live stream to join. I've been on many different ones, and it's interesting. There's people who follow around the different live streams, and they're talking about the progress that's going on. It's kind of neat. Once in a while,
it's
fun. Say, why is that guy doing construction? And then people in the chat answer. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is fun. It really is.
Yeah. So one time on one of Neil's after parties, there was another guy doing some construction, and then there's a guy working on his car, and Neil was like, "What is going on here?"
Everybody's being the modern era, man. It's COVID and it's technology, and we all have friends so far away, and we want to do shit with them. It's fun. It's fun working on a car and having your buddy there standing there talking to you, even if they're not helping. It's just fun to have somebody hang out with.
Oh, twice I've grabbed.
I want to say I really appreciate your comment that you're saying that it looks like I'm doing things right, because I'm a beginner.
No, it looks great.
I wouldn't know by looking at it.
I'd hire you.
You told me that before. It's the only reason I know.
I hired you, and I'm only nice on the internet. I'm a terrible boss.
Yeah, he's a dick. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
No, it looks great. No, honestly.
Yeah,
it's
clean. I do appreciate it. Is what I'm
really
saying.
Clean. So. It looks really clean. That's awesome.
It does.
Well, once I get the roof up, I'll be putting wiring in, and there's this data wiring, and then there's also the electrical, so they won't be right next to each other, because that's important. And one of the things
that is important.
Yes, it is important, and you get less interference that way, because there's electromagnetic from coming from the power lines a little bit that does affect data if it's right next to each other. So I have. I'm going to wire the lights and the outlets on separate circuits. One of my friends had this idea when he built his house many years ago. And I thought, that is a cool idea. You got to use some extra wire to get back to the circuit, but that's okay. When something knocks out your power, your lights don't go out. It's
true.
A smart approach, and hardly anybody's doing this.
That's actually very intelligent, and I can tell you I have never thought to do that.
Neither did I, but
that is
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to tell my brother about that, see what he says.
Because he can charge.
We're doing like renovations and shit right now, and it's a pain in the ass when when the outlet pops a breaker and then you can't see.
He can present that to the client and charge extra to do that because of extra materials and labor.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But it doesn't have to be a heck of a lot. That's the thing. When you got the walls down, it's fairly easy to wire the place up.
I'm going to call it the RR electrical method. Name it after you.
Something finally.
Or you could say it like this: RR.
Yeah, the double pirate. R R
R. Right. It's the RR electrical method, matey.
Double the fun.
Fucking lootly. Sarah Marcy. Sarah. So Sarah, he's not building a grow room. He's actually building a studio for the True North Talk. Thank you, Dave. There you go. Not True North Toke, but True North Talk. Yes, that is accurate, Dave.
You got to showcase that comment.
There's smoking, so, Yeah. And if you enjoy this kind of stuff, Sarah, and anybody else in the chat who doesn't already know, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I am doing some kind of a stream. Everybody is welcome. I basically do an open mic kind of deal. I decided not to go with topics because everybody wants to talk about different stuff. And the main topic is gone in 15 to 30 minutes. So I'm just doing open mics. Everybody's welcome. And if you want to get to know people better in the community, we're all on Twitter. We're all friends on Twitter. And you're welcome to join in on there. Find one of us, whatever. And
we'll get you in.
Yeah, we'll get you we'll get you hooked up with all kinds of great fucking people that love to help each other. It's amazing.
But we won't push you in. You gotta.
We actually have a really good community, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in it. I'm in this community because I enjoy people so much. I hung around.
Yeah,
and
there's a whole bunch of
here we
communities.
are, a year and a half later, and I'm still here.
It's a whole bunch of communities, which is, I think, really cool because
it really is. Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about the atheism community. There's multiple communities. It really is.
Yeah, some are like that scary street you don't want to turn down.
Don't feed the stigma.
There's been a couple.
Couple what?
Not all are created equal. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Oh yeah.
But like I always say, I have met genuine and real people through the muck that I've met on the internet. I have met nothing but absolute just great people. So there's always compromise in life.
Fucking ox. No, but it's true. We were talking about that a couple streams ago, and you know, every time somebody in the community's gone through some shit, everybody's chipped in. I mean, look at Jen. What she up to? Like, I don't know. Last time I looked, she was at like 2,300 or something.
Yeah,
and that was in the first 3 days. In the first 3 days, our atheist community raised $23 to help her fucking move. So,
how much?
I don't want.
She was asking for less than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, it was no. Wait a minute. No.
She wanted 15, and she was at.
Oh,
like
I'm sorry. I'm
12
sorry. It was 13. It was 1,300. It was 1,200 something, almost 1,300 last time I looked. But that was in 3 days. Because our community fucking takes care of each other. So all you Christians who say we're immoral and don't give a fuck off. Kiss my ass.
I wish I was in a better position financially because I'd be donating too. You know, at least I can share stuff around and help them. So,
right.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this: any group of people you have, I don't give a fuck what color they are, where they're from, what denomination they are, if they're agnostic or whatever. I don't give a fuck. You're gonna have a few bad apples in every fucking bunch.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it is. You're gonna have 70% awesome, 20% and 10% assholes.
Because I'm gonna tell you the honest truth, Randolph. Like, I've experienced awful people in the community, but the people that I have met have offset that.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree. It's been the same for me.
So I'm not, but I try to be real without being too much of a pragmatist. I try to be.
And what I want to say about bad apples is just like real apples, they're not always at the bottom of the barrel, the bad ones.
That's right.
I agree. No, I agree.
That's right. They're mixed. They're just mixed in.
Yeah,
and like, you know, I love all the people that are on the streams all the time, all the people that watch the shows. I'm in the chat half the time, you know. So I just stick around the people that want me around. One of those things, you know. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
and I like that.
The same way.
Showcased because. One of the recent ones I met was Kitty the Atheist. Oh, she's a heck of a nice lady. I really
it's funny. When I first met her, she was on a silly stream and she had like this crazy makeup going and they were talking about sex and I was like, what the fuck, who's this blonde? but then the next stream I saw her on, she was on with Jen and they were on a serious topic and she was just on point and I was like, oh, she's not a dumb blonde. She was just goofy.
She wants to compare.
Great, man.
She wants to compare skin color with me in the stream one day.
You're both pale as fuck, right? But yeah, no, she's amazing, man. She's brilliant and she's kind and she's been making masks for what, like 8 months now?
And giving them away, right?
Well, yeah, unless you want something special, she's been giving almost all of them away. The only time she asked for donations to buy more material. Yeah, she does all the labor for free. But I told her if she made a special one for me, that I would, compensate. I'll pay her for the shipping and materials and labor.
Oh yeah.
And
you should get her to make 2 or 3 so you have spares.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, I have a Teespring now. Speaking of which,
well, the anti-maskers rip them off sometimes.
I have a Teespring now, so everybody can just go on my Teespring if you would like. Because blame Julian Junk Shop for this one because they were the ones that started it. They were talking about a Teespring, and I said, "Oh, nobody would want to buy my T-shirts." And they said, "You should make a blah blah." Well, then I got really high, And I sat here for like 2 hours and made a bunch of t-shirts and masks and shit. So there's my Teespring store. Don't anybody here do not feel obligated to buy a goddamn thing, but share it out so people who have money will. Thanks. I don't want anybody that's broke to my friends, don't buy shit. It's fine. Just share it out to other people I don't know. I won't feel guilty about them buying it.
I set up a couple of things on Redbubble as an experiment, and Redbubble has already paid me like a couple of bucks. And
that's awesome.
I didn't have to market or anything. And then I've seen my stuff showcased in the Google ads a few times. They showcase everybody's stuff. But the stuff I made was showcased a couple times. So Redbubble seems to be right on the ball with stuff. I assume Teespring's probably doing the same kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Aw. Thanks, Ox. I appreciate that, buddy. And yeah, you know me, man. Everybody's welcome back as long as you're not a dick. Don't be a dick. That's my only rule.
That's rule number 1.
That is the rule. Don't be a dick. You can say whatever you want. If you're taking it too far, I'll fucking tell you. I'll keep you in line. Just don't be a dick.
What did Ox say?
Just drink the Kool-Aid and enjoy the show. To Sarah.
Oh, it's this comment here. Oh, okay. That's so funny. I like to joke around for the people who are extremely brainwashed and overenthusiastic about it, like militantly, that they're probably injecting the Kool-Aid powder directly into their veins.
Right. Ox said, too late, B. I showed wife. She saw the baby t-shirts. So I did some baby onesies, and
awesome.
All of my shirts say B something on the front. And then on the back, I decided to do like a little logo. And I made it, I got a B me, but B is in capitals. And it's like smaller or sometimes bigger on the back, depending on which t-shirt it is. But I have like, for the guys, I have like Be Strong and like big manly print, you know.
Awesome.
And then I have some girly shirts. I put like Be True down on the right corner, so it's not like on their chest, you know. And then my logo's opposite on the bottom left corner. But I did these onesies, and they say, Be All Loving.
Oh.
And then on the back, it says, I gotta be me. Big.
That's awesome.
I think they're cute, but I mean, I made them up high, so maybe they're not.
You've got a good theme going. You should do make it look like one of the elements on the periodic table. There might be one that's BE, actually.
I'll have to look that up and see what it is.
If not, make one up.
Ox, the shirt behind me that is one of my logos, I bought that on Listen for Life stores. I cannot use that because someone already has a trademark on that one. I have to make up my own shit. Hi Titan for coming in. Sorry you got the notification so late. That sucks. I wonder who else that happened to. Anyway, so Ox, this shirt, it's called Listen for Life. listenforlifestore.com. And they have some really cool, like inspirational Black Lives Matter, equality, loving, peace, hippie stuff, all kinds of cool shit. So you guys should check that out for sure. Beryllium. Dave, what's beryllium good for?
Quite literally, it's the 4th in the chart. Boo. There you go.
And what's beryllium for? Like, what do they use that for?
Research and get to know this, because this is your.
It is absolutely.
Look, I'm typing it in right now.
It's got me pulling my chemistry book out.
Go to a website called ptable.com, P for periodic. And that one is fantastic. And I've chatted with the guy. The guy who runs it is an atheist as well. And we link to it from the Atheist Frontier. So yeah, go to ptable.com. It links you to all the needed articles and everything. It's so well done. They got all the orbitals listed, everything.
Oh, wait a minute. You guys have to check this out. I just looked it up. So it says that is atomic number 4 is a relatively rare element in the universe, usually occurring as a product of the spallation of large atomic nuclei that have collided with cosmic rays. Within the cores of stars, beryllium is depleted as it is fused into heavier metals or heavier elements. That's actually awesome, dude. It's a rare element. That's perfect for me.
That's
ain't nobody awesome. Like me, baby. No.
And that's like epic backstory there. That's really awesome.
So Titan says it's used in lightweight mechanical stuff and electronics. Sweet. I will have to do a periodic table t-shirt. That is my next thing. Thank you, Randolph. I will give you some credit and maybe some money for that if I ever get any sold. And thank you for the link. Oh, in Galaxy Quest they use a beryllium sphere to power the spaceship. See?
Oh,
I
simply
am powerful. I am rare and powerful, man.
Simply Secular Dave. I like the cut of your jib. I'm into sci-fi too. Great movie.
I lost that comment up there. Well, seriously though, guys, I got to go because I'm telling you, I'm like a Russian racehorse right now. I got to go.
Understand.
So I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Thank you both for coming in. Thank you, Randolph, if you can hear me. Everybody in the chat, thank you for coming in. You know, I love and appreciate every single one of you. Will, thank you for being my constant, steady guy. I really enjoy talking with you, and I hope we do this for a long, long time, man.
We will. We will.
I really enjoy the conversation. So everybody out there, be good to one another. Have peace in your life.